everybody. I'm just getting set up here. I've got Alec. I'm going to go ahead and get this recorder all set up. So, John Ott here with you. It's a Monday, May 20th, 2024. I got Mr. Alec Nava here with me. Let's get into it. Game 7, the Edmonton Oilers and the Vancouver Canucks. Connor McDavid, RNH, Zach Hyman, Matthias Ekholm, Evan Bouchard, Leon Draisaitl, Evander Kane, Dylan Holloway, Darnell Nurse, Vincent Desharnais, Ryan McLeod, Warren Fogle, Derek Ryan, Sam Carrick, Matthias Janmark, Connor Brown, Brett Kulak, Cody C. Stuart Skinner, probably the goaltender of record today. And for the Vancouver Canucks, head coach by Rick Tocchet, sounds like this: JT Miller, Pius Suter, Ilya Mikheyev, Quinn Hughes, Philip Peronic, Elias Lindholm, Dakota Joshua, Connor Garland, Carson Soucy, Tyler Myers, Wise Patterson, Niels Holtlander, Sam Lafferty, Teddy Bluger, Philip DiGiuseppe, Niels Amon, Nikita Zadorov, and Cole, and Arthur's Shelovs. So I know we're in the middle of the WNBA game between the Sun and the Fever. If this goes over to the point, I'll flip on the ESPN app. But Alec, this is Game 7. I know I've seen some things online saying whether or not how good this series has been, but just the game that you covered was the only one in Game 6 that wasn't a one-goal game. I'd say it's been pretty decent.
I mean, it's been back and forth. It's a rather wonky series, but wonky in a very good way. The first 5 decided by 1 goal with late-game heroics in 3 of those 5 games. The game I covered, it was a 5-1 game, but one that Edmonton was looking for. I was questioning at first the decision to go back to Stuart Skinner, but it was the team in front of Skinner that did all the work. Start off with Dylan Holloway making Connor McDavid proud with the first goal of that game. After the tying goal by Niels Holtlander in that first period, everything took off for the Oilers, including the perfectly timed goal for Evander Kane. And I mean, when I say perfectly timed, fans are singing to Living on a Prayer by Bon Jovi, and the prayers were answered with Kane scoring off the faceoff. How amazing is that?
Absolutely crazy. Again, that was the one that you covered there in Game 6. Every other game has been a one-goal game. We've had 3-2s. We've had 4-3s. There's been a lot. Game 1 was an instant classic, the 5-4 to start. I know on the Sportsnet side, I see the players coming out on the ice. We're scheduled for a 9:15 puck drop. Sportsnet would be way ahead of both Alec and I, so I'm going to try to use the ESPN feed, but the towels are waving at Rogers Arena. And the big news today, Alec, we got that a little bit yesterday, but no Brock Besser because of blood clotting issues.
Yeah, that was the biggest blow for Vancouver. No Brock Besser for the rest of the playoffs, given that he is out because of blood clots. Scary situation. They say it's down on his leg. And all the best wishes to Besser. Best wishes on his recovery, given that he's the second player to have blood clotting issues this season after Freddie Anderson at the same. It's no joke when you deal with blood clots wherever you may be. It's not life-threatening, but it's serious. And I wish Besser the best in his recovery. Hopefully Vancouver is hoping that they can deliver him the victory because this Game 7 now has more meaning to them.
Let me ask you this, Alec, in all honesty. I know we're a few minutes away from puck drop, but just first blush here. I know we're trying to be professionals. We have fun, get the articles on, work really hard. But I know Brock Besser's a gigantic piece. Arthur Shelovs has been a hero of sorts. Does Vancouver realistically have a chance to win this thing if they have another one of those games where they only have like 12 or 13 shots on goal? It's been too many times already that it's happened in this series.
It's not sustainable. If you have been limited to that many shots on goal, it's not sustainable. Edmonton's been firing at will in Game 6. It has been forcing Vancouver to be limited on those shots. Game 3, those types of games against Nashville, that's a one-off. You win while having 12 shots on goal, that's a one-off. You're not going to get much wins with that. You have to keep firing towards the inside. Take risks towards the low slot. That's what Niels Holtlander did on the only goal for Vancouver, and JT Miller on his winning goal.
I would practice that theory as much as you preached it there, Alec. I think that was well said, because when you play the Dallas Stars on Thursday between one of these teams, it's going to take a much better effort than we've seen maybe from 3 or 4 of these games. I mean, look, we went from Game 6 And I understand you're able to cover a little bit of a blowout there, but in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, really? They're going back to Calvin Pickard or going back to Stuart Skinner after Calvin Pickard play a couple really good games? But it really was Stuart Skinner didn't have anything to do in Game 6. So both these teams, honestly, are going to have to step it up in a big way if they're going to be able to beat the Dallas Stars in that series, realistically, to me.
Yeah, realistically, I have better hopes for Vancouver in beating the Dallas Stars in a Western Conference Final Series, though no Besser is going to be a big blow for them. And it's final between the Sun and Fever. The Sun win 88-84, so on to Vancouver it is, but realistically, I have better hopes for Vancouver in defeating the Stars than I have in the Oilers. The Oilers, they can rack it up from their top-heavy team. Vancouver is balanced all around, but given that they don't have Besser, what do you do now with the goal scoring? You lose your best goal scorer. Now, essentially, your best goal scorer now that you have available is JT Miller.
And I'm looking at it realistically, as you said, in the second line between Elias Lindholm, Dakota Joshua, and Connor Garland. Now, Lindholm's good on his own, and Joshua has had a couple really good opening games in this series, but that's a lot to ask of your second line. Elias Pettersson on that third, again, if it is a situation with Sam Lafferty and Niels Höglander, there's a lot for Elias Pettersson to do. We're still battling injury, and I understand that everybody's battling that this time of year, but the second, third lines, especially without Brock Besser in the lineup, they really take a hit today.
Yeah, they really did. With Besser being out for the remainder of the playoffs and his status being uncertain for the long haul. We don't know when he's going to come back. What we do know is that's going to be at some point next season for Besser, but it's a big hit.
And I heard, at least for Thatcher Demko, again, no Rick Tocchet here on this side for Thatcher Demko, but maybe if the series goes on into Dallas, maybe Game 3, Game 4, we could see Thatcher. So that is something. We're underway right now at Rogers Arena. It's Game 7. Alec Nava, John Ott here with you on this one. I'm glad to be joined by Alec, and we will continue to move this around as we did in between the second and third, as that overtime kept us pretty busy last time in the previous series. So this is sent around on the left side red line, and we'll start this again with the Vancouver Canucks. They'll send this back around to the right side of the end boards, and Miller takes a big hit. This one goes out of play. We're already starting the serenades. We're getting all the feelings. Hell, with both of these broadcasts so far from Vancouver, I covered 2 home games, and they're 2-0. Maybe that's a good omen for them.
Well, if signs are any indication, then perhaps it could get there. We remember Game 1 with that big-time comeback for Vancouver, down 4-1 to win 5-4 in regulation. What the heck is going on with this ESPN camera?
Hopefully that doesn't mess around too much, because I will have to go to Sportsnet. Right now we have, okay, it immediately goes to black, and then there's a chance out front for Connor Garland. So that worked out for Vancouver. Now left to right, Cody Ceci. This one's flipped in and canceled off by the glove of Shelovs.
I guess both the feeds of Sportsnet and ESPN, they were saying, now you see them, now you don't. Because Connor Garland out in front of Stuart Skinner with the first legit opportunity he was right on the face. Once again, we were curious. It was a curious decision to go to Skinner for Game 6. Kind of worked.
It did, especially when you know that you didn't have to do much. I mean, it felt like he was just taking a regular jog in the morning. It really wasn't anything else too strenuous for Stuart Skinner, and it's kind of crazy how it's been, considering Vancouver's had more of those games, and it's still a 3-3 series. It's just get more shots on Skinner. I think Vancouver can win this one today. That's kind of how I felt throughout the series. Leon Draisaitl will have this now off the backhand. Still continuing to try to move it around the horn here. This will be sent back around behind the net again for Evander Kane. And it'll be a turn and fire chance for Olga. What a stop! Shelovs lost his stick in the process. And the Towels will definitely wave for that, but I didn't think he would be ready for it. But just a minute and a half pretty much into this game. My goodness. As it's Cody Ceci now. Hyman couldn't find it, and Teddy Bluger will send this one down deep. But Alex Shelov's already into this game.
Well, he's already looking like prime Thatcher Demko on the ice with that amazing save. The initial shot from Dylan Holloway, and then off the skate of Ian Cole, which redirected right onto the open stick of Leon Draisaitl. Draisaitl located, Shelov's jump back on time to his right side with the first amazing save of this game. He lost his stick in the process. His kid is lighting it up.
It's unbelievable. And again, if I'm Ian Cole, I will say this. I feel like a magnet toward the puck. I understand a defenseman can be. Sometimes he's been in the wrong situations. Sometimes I think Ian Cole's just been unfortunate throughout this series. But Draisaitl doesn't score, and Shelovs makes a terrific save. So we'll start again with Dakota Joshua, who almost lost it inexplicably. And this will go back to the Vancouver defense, try to find an entry here. So 1 point in games 3 for 5 for Connor McDavid, but 3 assists in game 6. So if they can keep Connor McDavid silent again, that'll go a long way. Shelov's able to cancel that one off with the left pad. RNH trying to locate now off the spin in turn. Here's number 97. Connor McDavid, beautiful sauce pass to Bouchard, but I didn't tongue-tie myself. And this goes now to RNH, off the drop back to Evan. And the forwards will take a change for Chris Snodblock's squad. They're amongst a chorus of boos, and I can understand why you're booing Evan Bouchard, because he's kind of been lighting it up like a pinball machine. He's had a great series as this is sent in. Good hit. And near the right side boards by Carson Soucy. This goes D to D, though. Darnell Nurse will send it around. And Nikita Zadorov, Tyler Myers will get this one up. Good stick in the lane. Knocked it away from the end mark. And now Desharnais trying to get his pass across. A little bit of a side broadcast camera here as this is going back down for Rick Tocchet's squad to take a change. So shots are already where they are for Edmonton, and that kind of gets Alec and I nervous here for Vancouver. It's 4-0 Edmonton with 16:30 left to go in the first. We talked about that a little bit in the pregame. That can't be sustainable. As Zach Hyman, this puck bounces off of him, and now Cole back out there again. We'll try to take this right to left, and the Orca jerseys put it up and on a play.
I wonder how much longer it's going to take for the main camera to be restored on both feeds, but Skinner, he's 6-3, but the stats are telling. 297 GAA, 881 save percentage. He does have that one shutout. That was game 4. He stopped all 33 Kings shots in that first round series. Now Edmonton's trusting him in this elimination game in the winner-take-all matchup. Very curious as the Oilers, they have the first 4 shots on goal.
I'm glad you agree, and I'm glad you said it that way, because I would have felt bad if I was the only one. I'm not saying Stuart Skinner can't do it. He just hasn't shown you the ability to be able to lock things down when, honestly, this series could already be wrapped up if they had some average goaltending. As Dakota Joshua gets to the right side, this one goes near the left side post. First chance off the rush for Vancouver. This will be funneled toward the net, and now the Edmonton defense got to get busy, get this one left or right, as this will be a race for the puck now. The Filip Hronek, he'll get shoved with a shoulder. This one will go right to left now for Nikita Zadorov. He's been a very good surprise in this series, as this one's bounced up in the air. Joshua can't locate it, and now Cece. Get this to the left side red line and fire it around for Shelovs. He stops it momentarily. He lost where it was, but this will be JT Miller. Always watch out for him. He's a really good two-way forward. There's opportunity for Pettersson. A drop. JT Miller, I think he probably dropped that too soon. He didn't get a chance to get a good handle on it, but the defense is there. Hughes will shovel this backhand. Pettersson. Wow, good reverse hit there. Pettersson able to stay on his feet. Here's a shot toward the net. Pettersson gets knocked down. He could have put that into a wide-open goal. But at least Pettersson had a good shift. Hyman off the rush. Stopped by Shelovs. It's loose. And Bouchard gets robbed by Shelovs. That's some good action back and forth.
Yeah, so far, so good. Vancouver, good looks off the rush. Elias Pettersson on the entry. John Buccigross asks, will he score a big goal tonight? Because he's noticeably not been the same Pettersson ever since he signed that extension. They're hoping that he gets on his groove here in Game 7. He had some looks. Quinn Hughes on the keep. Put Zach Hyman on the rush on the other way. Both goaltenders tested early on here. Our referees, Chris Rooney, John Hebert, Wiseman, Devin Berg, Johnny Murray.
We'll see what Edmonton can do now with this offensive zone draw. They have their bottom 6 line out there. I think this was Yanmark, but this will go right to Shelovs. It'll be startled now for Tyler Myers. We'll try to get this one right to left. And this will be sent down, but an icing is whistled. 14:50 in this scoreless first.
I thought it went out of play for the moment, but if we look at the dicey commotion between Nikita Zadorov and Evander Kane in Game 6, they got a little bit together here in Game 7. Could get dicey if we see these two square up again.
It is funny. I do want to say this openly, Alec, and feel free to respond. But in the sense of, I saw some Oilers fans and Nikita Zadorov's play and say Zadorov better keep his head up. I mean, really? He's got 6 inches on everyone else and 50 pounds. I don't think Zadorov's intimidated at all. Do you?
He's not.
No, I wouldn't think so. As Vincent Desharnais was a big human being, he takes a hit. The shots are 6-1. As this is spun around the inboards here for Quinn Hughes. Hughes will send this one D to D. Rister, this gets blocked. This was a jailbreak for Edmonton. They thought they had a chance to get the puck, but it's deep on the left side red line. And we'll start again as this goes back to the neutral zone for Quinn Hughes. He'll just make the save play, throw it in behind Stuart Skinner. About 14:05 left to go in the first. I know Alec Bishman's a little bit ahead of me, but we're glad to join you here for this Game 7. Here's a good chance, Mikheyev, and he can't finish it. My goodness, he was all alone. Here's a chance toward the right side. Dot blocker before it ever hits Skinner. And Vancouver hasn't had a lot of chances, but that one could have been the first goal of the game as this one goes in the netting.
I wonder what that pass attempt was from the Oilers. It almost bit them when Ilya Mikheyev was right there to take it away. First game back from injury, already is making an impact, but hit the side of the post. That's a bad pass on the breakout attempt from Edmonton. I'm just not sure who they're trying to pass it to.
No, and that's one of the situations, too, that we talked about in the pregame, Alec. Let's say Edmonton advances. You do this kind of stuff against Dallas. And look, I understand Dallas has played a long 7-game series. That double overtime heroics that you helped me call, and I appreciate that because you did a lot of heavy lifting. We stayed up late for that one. You do that against Dallas, and that series is going to be short.
It's going to bite you. If you keep making those sloppy passes, Dallas is going to continue to bite you should you advance over to the Western Conference Final if you make those sloppy passes at your own zone. We figured that Western Conference Final would be the Oilers' ceiling, but we expect something to be more competitive than what we saw in 2022 when they got swept by the Avalanche. And no shade to the Oilers, but the Avalanche just happened to be a very good team that's hungry for a Stanley Cup. The Stars, the same thing. But you do that against Dallas, in which they're a very good defensive team, you'll get burnt.
Yes, you will. And it's kind of interesting as we talked about Dallas a little bit during this commercial break. Okay, you beat the Vegas Golden Knights, defending champion. You beat the Colorado Avalanche, champion from 2 seasons ago. And now potentially you go into this third-round matchup. This might be the easiest matchup you have the rest of the way.
Well, de facto easy because nothing truly is easy for any one of these 5 teams that's remaining. But Dallas, this could basically be the most relaxing matchup that they can have in a sense. If it's Vancouver, yeah, there's going to be a little more pressure. If it's Edmonton, well, even if you're not supposed to take them lightly, it's a little easier on paper.
Yeah, because then after that, you're going to have either Florida or New York, and that is not going to be easy. Although, whatever we get in the Stanley Cup final, if Dallas is in it alongside either one of those two, that's going to get an excellent final. Hopefully that'll make up for the one that we got last year, because Vegas essentially dominated a Florida team that was injured, but they earned what they deserved, and that's what they got. They got a Stanley Cup. This goes live and off the backboards. Wanted an exaggerated slapper for Holloway. He's still calling for it, but they're not throwing it there. And this is loose for Dakota Joshua. His sauce pass, he couldn't get it out initially. He will now. Vancouver's got a chance off the rush here if they want to take it. And this is a knuckle puck right to Skinner.
I was wondering how they did not find Dylan Holloway at the high slot. I'd be wondering, too, if I'm Holloway myself. You get yourself some space to fire a one-timer through, and the Oilers don't even locate you. You got to give the kid a chance. Though I feel if he was truly closed off by several Vancouver defenders, I can understand, but you have to find the passing lane for this kid.
I think so, Alec. The stick was wide open in the air. I mean, what does he need to wear? Bright yellow? He was open right in the middle of the slot.
Yeah, I mean, he was so open, and you don't even find him.
This is now toward the right side dot. A defensive zone face-off win. Cody Ceci, good pass in off the bank. And this will be sent in for Quinn Hughes, who tries to retrieve this thing. This is turned over right to the left side and saved by Sheepoffs.
Edmonton's doing a good job taking the pucks away from Vancouver early in this game. They're carrying the momentum over from Game 6. And a quick takeaway leading to a quick shot for Derek Ryan. An unlikely goal scorer if we would see him potentially score a goal for Edmonton here in this Game 7. But early on, it's favoring the Oilers. So far, so good for them.
Yeah, I like your call on the previous defensive play because they jammed it up toward the right side red line on that boards and they funneled that turnover into traffic. We'll see if Edmonton can continue to do that as this is bounced away from Pettersson. We'll get it back though. Try to make a play between his legs, but there's Connor McDavid off the intercept as this one will be shoveled into the players' bench. Another stoppage. We've had a lot of those, but it's 7-2 right now.
So we had so many stoppages as of late, though through the last two games, Vancouver did shift Elias Pettersson to the wing of Elias Lindholm and Niels Höglander, which brought mixed results to an extent. Now Pettersson's back his natural position of center. He's on the third line of Höglander and Lafferty. With Höglander, that's your ideal go-to winger if you want some scoring looks.
So that's what we'll watch for, because honestly, I was going to ask you that. I'm glad that you brought it up. Tyler Myers near the left side boards. Off the spin and turn. Good defense here for RNH, but somehow Vancouver finds that puck through a phone booth, and this will be sent back down and around the end boards now and started again for Edmonton. They'll go ahead and let their forwards take a change. John Ott here with you alongside Alec now, but we're at Rogers Arena. This is Game 7. And whoever wins this one is going to play Dallas on Thursday. That's when Game 1 opens for them. We got an off day tomorrow in the NHL, so now that my plans have been squared away for today, got a chance to spend some time with the missus. Tomorrow, I think I'm going to cover Boston and Indiana.
And how are we doing, Andrew?
Hey, John, not looking good for your Griffins right now. 3-0 Admirals.
Oh, wow. So, Grand Rapids Griffins, I'm glad to hear them playing some playoff action, but I'm not expecting that scoreline.
Yeah, hey. I mean, guys like us just can't get enough of hockey. We're watching. I got NHL. I got the games. I got Canucks Oil on one screen, and I got Admirals Griffins on the radio, local radio over here. So.
Hey, we'll take what we can get. We like to see that because we're hoping in the October side you might see more of the Griffins go up to the Red Wings side. So that scratches the itch. It's good to have that. Again, Alec always helps me bring everything else into light because this guy's a hockey encyclopedia. I just try to bring the voice a little bit sometimes here and there. As it's Dakota Joshua on the left side red line, and this one will be sent back in again. Off the left side boards, JT Miller gets pinned as this will be picked back up now by Darnell Nurse. You got Draisaitl out there as well. Try to get this one left to right, and now here are the Oilers off of 3-on-3. You can always watch where Nikita Zadorov is. He's got to get in the shot lane, and he did so there with a block off his left knee. This will be sent now back on that same side for Joshua. All the way back to Skinner. Shots are 9-1, and we're almost halfway through this first period of Game 7. This is the start that Edmonton's had most of the time throughout this series. Vancouver's not had enough of a pushback. And somehow they're still 3-3 in the series, but they can't continue this type of level of activity as this is sent around the end boards. Picked up now for Derek Ryan, who just got canceled off of a chance. McLeod spinning around the end boards now. Good finish of a head, Ilya Mikheyev. Try to find it. It was off of Derek Ryan. Sent back in around the end boards and intercepted by the Orca jerseys. They'll flip this one back down, and I think a hand pass, a little bit of a late hit, and that's going to draw a crowd. McLeod wants a piece of somebody. Pew Sooners getting rocked a little bit, and we're getting some chaos.
Yep, everyone's going at each other's throats. After the hand pass, McLeod thought he got interfered with, and that forced him to try and glove it down with the hand. Couldn't materialize, and he is hot. All the pushing and shoving left and right here between Edmonton and Vancouver. Good old playoff hockey between two Canadian teams. What more can you want?
No, that's what you want to see. Again, it's been a long time for Canada to have a team in the Final Four here and have a chance to have legitimate Stanley Cup aspirations. We thought we saw that a couple seasons ago. Colorado Avalanche said no. That was a really good block from Nikita Zadorov. He's been a good pickup coming over from the Flames.
And I know Flames fans must be a little bit smiling knowing that Zadorov and Lindholm are fighting success here in Vancouver and continuing to do so. Zadorov has been with the all-around impact, some offense to bring to it, plus with the defensive tenacity and the physicality. That's what makes him an exciting defenseman. He may not be the best defenseman on the Canucks, but he's perhaps the most exciting.
4 goals and 4 assists for 8 points. Would we have expected that? No, but he has put a rubber stamp in on this series. Does he always have the offensive flair? Yes, I can say he does, because he covered a lot of Flames games over the years alongside Alec and Cooper, so we've seen a lot of that. This is picked up. McDavid combination pass, Draisaitl Hyman. This one gets picked off. JT Miller off the bank for Pedersen, and this one will be sent back down. Mattias Ekholm, he's been another really good pickup last year from the Nashville Predators. Here is Connor McDavid with the wheels. His long wrister glove save she lobs, but man oh man, the speed is the first thing you notice.
I mean, he saw Dylan Holloway get that speed over in Game 6 in the first period on his goal. McDavid tried to answer that with a goal of his own, trying to replicate what Holloway did in Game 6. Instead, he chooses the right circle to fire the shot on Shelovs. Didn't make it all the way through. 96 points through 60 games in his playoff career. He and Draisaitl are animals in the playoffs. This year, no different.
Let me ask you this, Alec. Do you think McDavid's faster with the puck?
I would believe so.
Because I really think so. I think he gets an extra gear when he has the puck in his possession. Good face-off win by Fogle. This will go D to D now. Here's a long wrister. This one hits the glass. Cody Ceci. Now on the right side red line. There's a pass. It doesn't find anybody. This will be sent all the way down. We're past the halfway point. Again, the shots are 9-1. Do something against Stuart Skinner. Make him sweat. Think you might have a chance here for Vancouver, but I just don't see it happening right now. Here's a lazy one. Now for Cody Ceci off the drop. This will go in the high slot, and now Ian Cole will try to locate, and everyone else will take a change for Rick Tockett's squad. Cody Ceci send it back in one more time. Away from Nikita Zadorov, off the half spin there is Ian Cole. He's almost got Phil Peronik's same color beard, so it's easy to confuse if not for the jersey number. As this one goes back in around behind the inboards, Cole will get it one more time. Pass from 80, as this is near the left side, and man, oh man, what a hit that was. It's loose out in front, and nobody can get a stick on it. Dakota Joshua was there. Draisaitl, 3-on-2 developing left side. Draisaitl, stick drag shot saved by Shelovs as this goes in the left side red line. Vancouver, good backhand. Try to get this right to left. They'll gain the entry from 100 feet. They'll shoot it in as it's saved by Skinner. A little bit of a Bronx cheer as they get a shot on goal. And they're at home. This is now the left to right pickup here for Edmonton. Pinball pass will go right back to the defensive court for Chris Knobloch. They'll start again with Vincent Desharnais. This pass too far, and again, Vancouver just carelessly turns it over the other way. Here's Connor McDavid, wide open pass from right to left. Shelovs able to get a piece of the blocker. RNH, send it back to left side D. Put it back around the inboards now for number 97. This bounces in between a couple players and settle back down now for Peronik. Make the outstretched pass, and this will be sent back around again. So forwards take a change. I noticed that shift there was about 40 seconds for that top line as this goes for Ekholm. 7:45 left to go on the first round, and here with you alongside Alec Nava. Shots are 10-2, but we're scoreless. This is left side. And a big rebound, and somehow Shelovs didn't give that one up. He didn't even hold the first one. My goodness. As it's Pedersen, his pass for Pius Suter. This gets blocked. Picked up around the inboards now. And now this will go right to left. Pedersen, try to get a piece of it. The opportunity now for McLeod. He will take a chance that goes off the outside of the cage. Spin and turn, and Shelovs mercifully gets a hold.
Connor Garland had that good look at the far side of the net. That could have brought the first goal of this game and brought the roof off of this building here in this first period. Edmonton still with good looks at the front of the net. Even some pinball bounces off some awkward bounces. So does remain scoreless by some way, shape, and form.
Yeah, that's really the only way you can say it, Alec. I agree with you. This game has been one-sided. Does this game feel, because I know you covered it, so let me just ask, does this game feel like Game 6 to you so far?
So far, by the pace of how the Oilers are playing, it feels like Game 6. Or more like the first period of Game 6, just without any of the goals from both sides. That's what it is thus far. We're just missing the goals, but the Oilers are controlling the pace of play. Hopefully, it results in a convincing victory for them and less of what happened in Game 3 when the Oilers got goalied by Shelovs.
They did. Right now, they're getting goalied 12 out of 12 for Shelovs. Skinner, just 2 more saves than Alec and I. 2 out of 2. 7-14 left to go in this first as we've hit the second commercial break of the period. I wish I could tell you more, folks, as far as what I think could change, or sometimes I'll throw out some coach speak and this and that. Right now, I can't throw any of that stuff out to you because the Vancouver Canucks need to take this puck north-south and start getting some shots. That really is the long and short of this. If they do not get this pushback, Arthur Shelovs is not going to be able to take much more, I don't think.
I'll just leave behind my first goal picks here in this Game 7 on a possible Game 7 challenge. I'll pick Filip Hronek to get the first goal for the Canucks. If it is the first goal for the Oilers, I'll go with Leon Draisaitl.
I like that pick for you on the Vancouver side. If Filip Hronek gets it, again, I should buy you some lottery tickets because he needs to get some points on the board. He's had a slow second half, a slow playoff. Hey, why not? I'll go ahead, former Red Wing too. Give me Pius Suter. I'll take Suter, and I'll take Evander Kane for the Oilers.
Oh, spicy things up with Evander Kane. I like that pick as well for Kane to get on the board.
Now a defensive zone draw. 12-2 are the shots. Hell, I should just say Nikita Zadorov to score because that's probably likely. He's been really good. But I'll go with Pius Suter, as this is Cody Ceci off the drop Holloway. A wide open pass, but it goes right to Vancouver. Ian Cole got dumped. He's slow to get out, but he will get back to his speed. Still back to his defensive responsibility. And now Miller, he gets upended by Holloway, loses the puck, and this will go right back to the left side blue. So everybody can take a change. We're already near the players' bench. Might as well. 6:35 left to go in the first. John Ott with you alongside Alec Nava. Game 7 in Rogers Arena. Shelovs will have this bounce back to him off the boards. And now we'll get some pushing and shoving here. Carson Soucy wants a piece. And I don't think there's going to be much of this as the Zebras are separating everyone.
Yeah, not really much of the gloves dropped. Even though Soucy wanted to go after Connor Brown. Brown, it's been a season for him. That's all I'll say about him. The 1-year deal was a low-risk, high-reward move, knowing that there's a possibility that Brown could get back to his former form with Ottawa, but it just didn't really happen for him this year.
Secondary goal scoring, Alec. Again, we've talked about it for games that we've done, maybe for a couple of seasons as well. It's just not been there for Edmonton. Yeah, you had the RNH resurgence, you've had some Evander Kane, but for everybody else, who's going to help out that core of 97 and 29? And we'll see, again, what their ceiling is. We talked about it. I still agree with you. WCF. Will they ever win a Stanley Cup with them? That's something you got to think about. Connor Garland, Darnell Nurse, that's someone they're paying a lot of money to. Connor Garland, near the right side boards, try to shove it loose. Here's an opportunity now for the Oilers off the half skate. Here's a cross pass, and this one will get picked off for Fogle and Brown, trying to send this around the end boards. And Filip Hronek will go ahead and take this one from 60. Good defense there for Edmonton. A chance near the right side, got room. Work this off the wraparound, big rebound. And Dakota Joshua cleans up the mess. Now Ian Cole, Teddy Bluger, he'll spin. Put this around the end boards now. Bluger tries to find, that'll be Neil Zaman, excuse me, as this is sent around the end boards for Philip DiGiuseppe, who scored a beautiful goal a couple of games ago. And this is picked up in behind the cage. 5:25 left to go in the first. Edmonton now trying to take this left to right again. They're on the road with the white jerseys, blue and orange striping. You got the Orca blue with the green and blue striping on the other side for Vancouver. As this is sent around, left side boards, good spin for Hyman, trying to find some space. Connor McDavid, he's working in behind the cage. His pass, good contest. Hyman, excellent job keeping the puck amongst the traffic cones. He'll turn and shoot, but he ran out of gasoline. This is intercepted by Philip DiGiuseppe. We'll send this one in. Stuart Skinner, very slow touch. Get it to his defense now. Man, oh man, this game has felt one way only, but we're still keeping the voice pipes sharp here as Ian Genji has joined us. This is sent down the left side, and this is a lob pass in front of Vancouver's net. Elias Pettersson, turn on the wheels. I'll put this in the right side red line. And a good stick in the lane. Here is Miller, as he'll pick this one back down around for Ilya Mikheyev. Mikheyev, former Maple Leaf. We'll send this around the end boards here. This will be chipped off the glass. Pettersson, get it right to Zadorov. Still working behind the cage. Vancouver, nice work off the forehand, trying to keep it alive with one hand on the stick. Put it in behind the cage again. Vancouver is working this D-to-D. Here's a tip a couple times. Send it toward the net. Big rebound again. Vancouver elects to hold. We'll take it D-to-D. Slap pass around the end boards. Now Pettersson. But one more time for JT Miller. He's got nowhere to go. The zone time's been about 50 seconds. McLeod, I think we're getting a penalty. High sticking right to the face. And Vancouver on the power play.
They're saying it's going to be a 4-minute double minor on Ryan McLeod. They're checking for blood on Elias Pettersson, but that was clearly a high stick. Very clear right on the nose or the cheek area. And Pettersson, he's grabbing himself. That may be a sign that it's 4 minutes. So Vancouver has a chance to crack first.
How are you doing, my friend? How's it going, Ian?
It's going well, man. I'm actually watching the end of the Royals game because this is one of the few times I actually get to watch the team.
Yes, it's on national TV today. You get to see my dumpster fire Tigers. Hopefully the Royals get the win.
Yeah. Unfortunately, a line drive knocked out your starting pitchers. Sorry for that.
Yeah.
And do you want me to tell you what happened in the sixth, or do you already know?
I just saw the box score and my eyes got wide.
Yeah. It started with Salvador Perez hitting a solo bomb, and the inning ended with Salvador Perez batting.
Oh, that's always nice when you get to bat around.
Yep, 6 runs.
All around the clock.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what happens. Teams take their time card, they punch in and punch out against the Tigers, unless you're the Arizona Diamondbacks and Javier Baez. They should have just kept him in Arizona and traded him for a player to be named later.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I see Rick Tocchet being interviewed by Leah Hextall and Alec. Again, we just talked about this here. 4-minute double minor. You're pretty much at the 4-minute marker here. Vancouver at least gets one. You'd feel good going into the dressing room, all things considered.
This is not the cheek or the nose area, but rather the chin area of Pettersson, which it drew blood. So that's what warranted the 4-minute double minor. That was the right call on the officials' part between Chris Rooney and Jan Hebert. And Pettersson, he's back out there. He got tended to by the medical staff. So 4 minutes to the box. If Vancouver scores in this first half, they'll get 2 more minutes to work with.
And they got some quick, crazy glue on that because he's got blood on the right side of his lip. As Alec just called, that was pretty obvious as she lobs. We'll send this around the inboards now. So I'm going to give Alec the first 30 minutes. He's going to take all the second and the first part of the third because he closed the last one. So we'll switch and we'll see. But I think this might already be over. He might get most of the fun because the Edmonton's kind of bringing the pain here. But this might be, and I know it's kind of crazy to say it here, but I'll just say it honestly, this might be the best chance for Vancouver to do damage in this game right now. They cannot waste it. as this is an opportunity here for Pedersen on the power play. JT Miller, right side boards, off the embankment, taking it from Hughes. And this is a pass that could be picked off right to the Edmonton Oilers, and they're going to get an easy clear. Send it all the way down the length of the ice. Shelovs cancels it. It's a rolling puck, kind of like skee ball. This will be 3:05 left to go in the Vancouver power play, so they will have about 13 seconds carryover time, but it's essentially not going to mean much by the time the puck drops in the second. So we'll see what they can do right now. This will be off the right side boards. Quinn Hughes, he's punished as this works in behind the cage of Skinner. He hasn't had much to do today, as this is picked up by Hughes. Now toward the left side dot. What are they going to be able to do here? Hughes with a touch pass. Philip Hronek is all spun around. All he can do is just send this back around the embankment. Connor Garland will watch, and they'll watch this go all the way down the zone. This is not good right now for the Canucks. And they'll start this again with Shelovs. You can't panic here. You just got to run your offense. Carson Soucy will send this one back. 2:05 left to go in this first. They've still got 16 seconds on the double minor if they get some miracle here. Dakota Joshua off the left side red line. It's pinned. You got Darnell Nurse, Cody Ceci. This is just a bunch toward the left side and sent back down again. My goodness, Vancouver cannot get out of their own way as this is sent around the inboards. I mean, this is a Game 7 Stanley Cup Game second round, and I feel like I'm watching just regular season hockey here, maybe preseason for this power play. Let's get going, as it's Pedersen. Now off the left side, Zadorov. Can they get a shot? Here's a chance. They elect for a pass back, try to get settled in their offense. Crowd getting restless, and so am I. Quinn Hughes near the right side boards. Hronek tries to step up, and this gets blocked in the lane, goes up to the roof.
Here's a telling stat for the power play margins for the Canucks. They're over 25% on the road, but they're just over 5% at home. The crowd's getting restless here with this power play showing at home. And I agree with you. The two of us were getting restless because there's not even a single shot. It's a masterful penalty killing operation by the Oilers and forcing Vancouver to go to the outside and forcing them to shoot from those outside lanes. No chance for the inside means fewer chances at the net.
And it's a stark contrast, because a couple seasons ago when they got wiped out by the Avalanche, I mean, you looked at Oilers and penalty killing, you could laugh in the same sentence. And now they've been really, really good during this postseason here. I mean, they've been almost perfect at times. As this goes for Hughes. Off the spin and turn. He wipes out near the right side boards. See who can keep it in. Philip Hronek takes a big hit, and oh my goodness, here's a break. One-on-one against Shelovs. He stops it, puts it toward the right side of the red line. That would have been an absolute disaster for the Canucks. Pedersen, Miller to Pedersen, stick in the lane. As this is on the left side red line and pinned again. Darnell Nurse around for Cody Ceci. Quinn Hughes, he's been out there all 4 minutes. Slapper blocked again. Miller try to lift it back up to his defense. It's too far, goes all the way down the ice. 10 seconds left to go in the first. Mercy me, just kill it already. Right to left. One more chance off the rush. Connor Garland down to 2. He doesn't get a shot off. Domination for the Oilers after 1, but it is scoreless.
What a penalty kill by the Oilers to get one shorthanded break and limit the Canucks to no shots on the power play. Vancouver's limited just 2 shots on goal here in this Game 7. Not the way that Vancouver wants it to go in this first period. Edmonton's been the better team in this Game 7 thus far, and they deserve to be at the spot that they are. One shorthanded breakaway by Connor Brown of all people to be stopped by Artur Shelovs of all people who keep this scoreless. Shelovs is the biggest reason why this game isn't 3-1 Oilers by this point.
Can I say this? Because I know it's an easy one. I got both of you gentlemen in here. And you guys are all smart. And this is smarter than the question that I'm going to ask. But Artur Shelovs win, lose, or draw here through 7 games for Vancouver. Let's say they don't advance. We're not putting any blame on Artur Shelovs, are we? I mean, he's been excellent in this game already once again.
He has. I mean, we need to know that he was going to step into the occasion once both Thatcher Demko and Casey Smith went down to injury. We don't know when Demko is coming back, but he has filled in nicely for the Canucks here in this playoff run, starting with Game 4 and continuing a torrid hot run. Yeah, he gave up 3 goals in his first start in the playoffs. Well, Vancouver did all the work for him from that point forward, but he did make some good saves of his own and limited Nashville to just 2 goals the rest of the way in the rest of the first round series. The Oilers are a different animal given that they like to score in bunches. Well, Shelovs has backstopped the Canucks to several crucial victories as stolen games for them. Game 3 being the prime example.
I'm glad you said it that way, and that's kind of why I brought it up, because if I looked at it on the other side for Stuart Skinner, and let's say Stuart Skinner played at the level that Arthur Shelovs did, that would actually give me aspirations and thoughts, Alec, that they can make the Stanley Cup final. But right now, Stuart Skinner hasn't had to do anything again. Just like in Game 6, he didn't have to do anything. He has been maybe, I don't know, I don't want to be rude, but I got to be honest here, almost pedestrian, and they're able to get into a Game 7 as well. So I think even if Edmonton advances, they need Stuart Skinner to be better, or they're probably going to have to go back to Calvin Pickard.
Yeah, they'll have to. Otherwise, Pickard's going to be their go-to guy in the Dallas series should Edmonton advance. Skinner has been very on and off in this playoff run. Yeah, he had that shutout, but everything else, what else really is there for Skinner? I mean, he's okay, but just okay isn't okay.
No, it's not. Not considering what you have left. I know we talked about some of the NBA stuff when I joined you guys late, and I do want to hit on that a little bit, but we have an off day tomorrow, so no hockey on the docket, but it does give us an extra day to think about what's going to happen in the Eastern Conference Finals. I know it's not Carolina, Alec. I'm a little bit disappointed on that too, but they did give it one hell of an effort. It is New York. It is Florida. Is that series, there's no way it's going to end before 6 games, right?
I mean, if we get anything that's less than 6 games, we consider this series a disappointment. I think it's going to go at least 6. I could think it's going to go the entire distance. A Game 7 at MSG is going to feed families.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, because here's where it is with. I'll say my piece on that, and then I've got something funny to tell you.
Sure.
You guys are gonna laugh at this. So Florida and the New York Rangers. I mean, come on. You're talking about the 2 best teams in the Eastern Conference. I agree with Alec. It's gonna go 7. It's gonna go 7 because it would take a monumental collapse by either team for it to be anything less than 6, anything less than 7, honestly. And I just don't see that. Now it could be that we just find out that one team is just better than the other. You know, we could find out that it's not going to be a close fight for dominance. It's just going to be one team finally saying, "Yeah, we're here. You should have expected us."
Mm-hmm.
It could be that, but no, I agree with Alec. But here's another bit of baseball. So I'm going to set up the scene. If I were to tell, so here it is. The New York Yankees and the Seattle Mariners are in this series for the next 3 days or 4, I forget. But for most of this game, the New York Yankees have been leading 4-1. Yet somehow the Mariners end up winning the game 5-4. Now, if I were to ask you, gentlemen, what do you think happened? What would your answer be?
I would have said a reliever blown it, but not the one, because I'm not spoiling anything, but not the one I would have expected. I never would have guessed that, Ian.
Right. Well, John knows. Alec, without looking at the box score, what do you think happened? And when do you think it happened in the game?
I think that someone stepped up among the hitters. I wouldn't think about a reliever blowing it for the Yankees, but someone on the Mariners stepped up their game. But what was it, Ian?
The Mariners ended up scoring 4 runs in the top of the 9th inning.
Wow!
You lost. The Yankees lost because I haven't even seen the pitcher who blew it. Who blew it, John?
Clay Holmes gave up 4 runs.
Clay Holmes. Oh, he's part of my fantasy baseball team.
Oh, Alec, you're taking a
I'm
big
so
time.
sorry, man.
174 ERA, which is still sparkling, after he gave up 4 runs on 4 hits and 2/3.
Oh, that's brutal. I mean, you got Rayleigh, Haniger, Canzone, and for the coup de grace, Ty France.
Yep. Oh my. I'm so sorry.
That's
Oh my god.
Oh wait. Oh my god, I just saw this. Brock Besser's out with blood clots?
Yeah, he is. On his leg.
Jesus.
Yeah, we said that in the open, and I saw the message last night, actually, Ian, from Elliot Friedman that came out, and not good news, because don't think he's going to step back into the playoffs at all should they advance.
Yeah, it's absolutely brutal for the Canucks. They lose him for the rest of the playoff run. His health is a first priority.
Oh my god. That's devastating. Brock Besser's been one of their most consistent playoff goal scorers.
Their best one.
Their best. Okay, Pedersen, time to earn your money.
Yep, you said it right. I mean, it's going to fall to somebody, and I understand what people are going to say, Ian, on the side of, okay, anybody can step up. It's the playoffs. I get it. Everybody can have heroes. But this is why you pay the guys the big bucks to be able to get it done when one of your members comes out. So I agree with you. They need a big game for Pedersen. Whatever injury he's battling, he's got to fight his way through it. He's even sitting on the 3rd line today.
Yeah, we speak of playoffs where unlikely heroes can rise up to the occasion. Such was the case when Fernando Pisani in 06 for the Oilers. And if we go one further to 09 for the Penguins, Max Talbot, Game 7 in the Stanley Cup Final. Others along for their line in Game 7s, they have risen up and took matters out of their own hands to get the win, even in overtimes. Darius Kasparaitis in 01, Derek Plant for the Buffalo Sabres, Derek Stepan. We name all of those overtime heroes all around. Patrice Bergeron with the goal, Alex Burrows to slay the Dragon. The list can go on, but it's very long.
Yes, it is. And again, as you said, anyone can step up, but you gotta have somebody. I don't care who it is, and I'll just say this honestly, because we got 8 minutes before we go to the second period and hand it back over to Alec here for a little bit. But I don't care who it is, whether it's Rick Tocchet or someone else that doesn't really talk in that locker room, or even Arthur Shelovs himself. Honestly, Alec, if I'm Arthur Shelovs, I'm slamming down my goal stick and saying, hey, let's get this puck the other way. Let's go. Please.
What are the odds that he goes full Patrick One and skates the puck himself?
Do something. He needs some help here. He's been more than a hero for them. I mean, honestly, as we talked about in the opening here, he's done everything you could ask and more, honestly. That's why we're in a 7-game series.
It would be funny if he just takes the puck himself and then goes across. Da 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 da.
You might as well. Somebody has to. You only got 2 shots on.
I mean, Sam Rosen in the MSG broadcast back then when Waz skate the puck himself, he got a laugh out that one. I know it's not legal, but come on, let him do it.
Let him do it. He's been that good right now. So right now, as it stands on the ESPN side, officially the second power play is not done yet, but they got 0 for 2 right now for the Canucks because it's about 12 seconds of carryover time. So shots on goal 13-2, hits are 13-11 for the Canucks, faceoffs about even at 10-9. Edmonton's looked good on the penalty kill, as Alec mentioned. They haven't had a power play themselves. They've had a couple of egregious giveaways. They lead giveaways 4-1. You don't want to do that, but everything else has been pretty good for the Oilers, so we'll see what the next 40 minutes can bring. But you got 2 shots on goal now, Alec. I would say at least. I know sounds low anyway. You got to get it to 10.
You have to. Even if the only shots you got from are from JT Miller and Elias Lindholm, you need to have everyone else fire at the net. It can't just be Miller and Lindholm for the entire game. You have to focus on guys like Garland, Pettersson, Hoglander, Joshua, Hughes, Hronek. Heck, even throw Zadorov into the picture. We like his game, the both of us.
Yeah, he's been really good in this series. Again, about another 550. I'll go ahead and just ask you gentlemen tomorrow, because again, we got an off day here, but we do have some basketball. You got the Celtics and you got the Pacers. I know you talked about it a little bit in Game 1. Who needs Game 1 more? I think the obvious answer is the Pacers, but do you think they're going to get it?
Well, so I know there are people saying that the Pacers haven't beaten a healthy team, a fully healthy team. Well, I can counter that by saying the Celtics haven't truly faced a fully healthy team minus 3 games of Donovan Mitchell on the Cleveland Cavaliers. But when Mitchell went down, well, you can also bring that argument of the Celtics not beating a fully healthy team. If Mitchell is healthy, this series goes 6 games against them and the Cavaliers. Between them and the Heat, I'd be questioning the possibility of the Heat potentially pushing the Celtics to 7 if Jimmy Butler was healthy. Between the Pacers and the Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo's health, I think the Pacers win that series regardless of Giannis' health. And for the Knicks, yeah, Tom Thibodeau has the infamous reputation of burning his players down to where it injures them. So the Knicks ran out of gas in the end, but who needs this game more? I think the easy answer would be the Pacers, but if the Celtics want to prove that they are title contenders, then I think it's the Celtics who need this game more. In the regular season, the Pacers have constantly given the Celtics fits, including in the in-season tournament. The Pacers are one of those few teams that know the Celtics, and they figured them out, in my opinion. So the Celtics, they need to counter with the stifling defense and play a full 48-minute game. Everything cannot just fade after 36 minutes. You need to play the fourth quarter as well.
I like your counterpoint, and I like where your head's at, because I agree. We can go with the surface level and say Pacers, as I mentioned that, but I agree. You want to see something from the Celtics? Hell, you want to see them win the NBA championship because you've had that core. And you know what? We talked about some theater, and from last year, talking about embracing the chaos and having the Pacers and then throwing them into the NBA Finals. You know what? Some other chaos for this would be for me to have the counterpoint and say, let's put the Celtics in the final, let's put the Mavs in the final, and see what happens to Kyrie Irving when he goes back to Boston, when he was handled the keys to the car, and he essentially didn't want it, and then he went back to Dallas.
Oh, every outcome is going to be a very good outcome for the NBA Finals. You already mentioned about the Celtics and the Mavs. Mavs and Pacers would be a reunion for Rick Carlisle down in Dallas. Pacers and Timberwolves, best offense versus best defense. Timberwolves versus Celtics would be best defense versus most complete team in the NBA that's left. Each one of these finals is going to be a very good outcome. I know ratings may take a hit, but parity is back in the NBA. I may be looking like this if it's NHL because the NHL has a lot of parity around, but with the NBA getting parity now, with no defending NBA finals going back to no defending NBA champion going back to the finals ever since LeBron left for the Los Angeles Lakers, it's official. Parity is back in the association.
Yes, it is. And again, I was watching this a little bit yesterday before bed, admittedly late, and I saw some of the quotes from Karl Anthony Towns and Anthony Edwards. And I think Chris Haynes was the one that asked the question on the TNT side. He goes, normally teams got to lose big in order to get to this spot. And he goes, and Carl at the Towns goes, we lost last year. He goes, this organization's lost for 20 years. How many more years do you want us to lose? He's like, we're happy to be at this spot. We hope that we can get to the finals. I thought Ken had a good response to that.
I mean, the big meow, as some would say, for Karl Anthony Towns. They're happy to be at this spot, but they know the big prize. Reach the championship and win it all. That's their main goal for Anthony Edwards and company. Getting to that point, which is basically uncharted territory for them. They've never been to an NBA Finals, whether it be with Kevin Garnett or with Edwards in those two eras.
So you're going to get set to take it away here. We got about 30 seconds to puck drop. So hand the mic over to you, and then we're going to go for the second. You start the third as well. I think you're going to get some goals out. I think you'll get the majority of the action. I'll probably get the end of it when the game is done. But I don't expect Shelovs to be able to play at that level that he did in the first. If he does in the second, and this game's still scoreless or within one, maybe Vancouver gets some magic. But Shelovs was masterful. And I just hope for his sake and for Vancouver's fans that he's getting some Gatorade in his system, because he's going to get work today.
He sure is. He's already has 13 saves thus far, and it's still counting. We see the Pacific Coast from Vancouver. Well, Ray Ferraro has played 3 career Game 7s. He helped set up the David Volek overtime winner in 1993 that knocked off the Penguins in the second round.
Yeah, Ray Ferraro is one of the good ones that they got on ESPN. You could say sometimes with their cast here and there about who they're going to get. Who knows who NBC is going to get as far as their broadcast coverage. That's going to get set to change in a couple of years, but I always liked his analysis.
I mean, with the NBA, we don't know who's going to be announcing what games. We speak of Mike Tirico and the possibility of him being the number 1 announcer on the NBA on NBC in the revival. Hell, he's already the lead announcer for Sunday Night Football. This Oilers penalty kill is 18 of 21 this series. They have not allowed a Canucks power play shot. That's how masterful they've been.
4 minutes of it, too. They got about 13 seconds. And then once this puck drops, it'll essentially be done. Stuart Skinner is probably yawning. We'll see what happens.
I mean, just 2 shots for that he has faced all throughout. So on my end, it is underway here. Alec Nava, John Ott, Ian Genji. We're so glad you guys can join us here for the second period of action here between the Canucks and the Oilers. So far, it's the Oilers with 13 shots to the Canucks 2. The Canucks this series have been held to 5 or fewer first period shots several times in this series. 12 different players have a shot on goal in the first period. None from McDavid and Draisaitl. That's the shocker. Canucks are in the zone. Ekholm pins this man behind Skinner's crease. DiGiuseppe pokes his side but lands onto the stick of Hyman. Canucks keep. It's out to center, recollected by the ex-Kraken Carson Soucy. Across for Tyler Myers. Myers sends it up to the penalty box doors for Blueger. Blueger backtracks. He'll send us around. McDavid was there. Soucy. McDavid tried to take it away, but helping Soucy out was Myers. Oilers poke it forward. It was Draisaitl, but Myers clears. Will this be an icing? Bouchard's just going to let this one go for one. And so we'll have this face up to the right of Shelovs.
So again, I know Alec Vision a little bit ahead of me, but 13-2 on the shot board. The power play is officially done. It was high sticking. Elias Pettersson had to absorb it. Hey, I didn't know Adam Foote was the assistant coach of the Vancouver Canucks. Got to get him over to Colorado.
You'd think he'd be part of the head coaching staff of the Avalanche, given back in the days where Patrick Waugh, big shot, score! Cody Ceci, the man who scored the first Game 7 goal 2 years ago against the Kings. He has the first goal for the Oilers in Game 7.
Let's be honest, gentlemen. Did you have Cody Ceci on your bingo card? Right after the clean bomb that goes left, right, and back of the net past Shelovs, and the square is celebrating in Edmonton.
That was not on our bingo cards at all. And then again, he has scored the first goal of Game 7 against the Kings 2 years ago. He has the first goal here. That's a big rocket and a screen in front from, guess who it was? The man who scored the first goal in Game 6, Dylan Holloway, who set up that screen, and the Oilers up 1-0. They were due for a goal. Let's be honest. Canada Canucks answer back. They've been heavily outshot here At this point in time, Garland behind the net. Can't tuck it in. CC held him off. Zadorov, left point. Around for the boards, back for Garland. Garland, near corner. Watched by Brett Kulak. Spun away several times, McLeod to the net. And that one was spanked off a leg. Oilers clear. Flipped down and recollected by Holloway. He can bring some speed here like he did in Game 6. Holloway brought down by Ian Cole. And then right back at you, says Evander Kane on Nikita Zadorov. This could get dicey. We see these two got some physicals with one another. Kane on the hold. And around the horn, this goes over to the near half boards. Lafferty can't get it out. And we have a tripping penalty, it seems, against Vancouver. The main key, do not put Edmonton on the power play. And that's the case.
Oh my goodness, Alec. I mean, I was just going to mention this before the stoppage. Is that essentially going to be that goal from Cody Ceci, the cup of coffee that Vancouver needs to wake them up? No, it's the exact opposite. The Dearborn, Michigan native Dakota Joshua sits in the box, and he just got scored on.
That is the absolute worst timing that you can have to put the Oilers on the power play. Anytime it's the worst time you can have given this Oilers power play so electric. They win a face-off. Here's Bouchard to Nugent-Hopkins to McDavid. Circles around. Right circle. Looks back for Bouchard is blocked in front, and Vancouver clears it out. They're 5 for 10 in games 1 for 4. They have not scored in the power play on 8 opportunities in the last 2 games. They may be due for one. They're like hungry sharks waiting in the ocean, waiting to strike on the power play. Draisaitl, what a move. He's forced over to the far half boards. Feed over right in front. Save. Rebound loses. Bouncing up over the net. Tipped out in front. Vancouver looks to clear, and they do. Frantic sequence right in front of Shelovs, who was getting hounded by all sorts of shots with the Oilers. Starting to look like a fire drill back there, John.
Yeah, it is. You got to help him at some point. I mean, Shelov's done everything as a third string, as we've talked about. It's got to go the other way once this is killed.
From the right side is a feed from Draisaitl to Nugent-Hopkins. Back at the points, Bouchard. The Nuge. Looking back at the left point. Bouchard around. Draisaitl looks to set up. Long shot blocked out in front. RNH is slowed down a bit by DiGiuseppe. Several more Canucks come crashing onto the near corner. Loose out in front. One-timer. Shelov's got back on time on Draisaitl. 49 seconds on the power play on the 18th shot by the Oilers. They have 6 times the amount of shots as the Canucks do.
Wow. This just looks like a cat playing with a mouse right now, gentlemen. This is one-sided.
So far it is. It's like Tom and Jerry, but with the roles reversed.
Yes, it is.
The mosh pit celebrating that first goal, and inside Rogers Place, they are celebrating as well. But to the Fluxland music. First power play unit is still out there. The Oilers snagged this faceoff away from Vancouver. Here's Bouchard, who goes back over to RNH. Lows back for Bouchard at the top of the left circle. Swings one towards the net, and Shelov's turn it away. Vancouver looks to clear. They do so again, but soon enough you'd think that they were to get some more odd man rushes. That's not the case thus far, and there's no look for them right now. Here's McDavid, who just furthest right over to the right side. Lead pass up forward. Shelov's had it bounced off of him. Nugent-Hopkins drops back. Here's Bouchard. 15 for Nugent-Hopkins. Nugent-Hopkins right around. Down late deep is Hyman. Hyman around to the near corner, or far corner router, McDavid. 8 seconds on the power play. Back for McDavid. McDavid fighting Draisaitl right back. McDavid waits. Now back to Ross. Draisaitl. Holy moly! How did Artur Shelovs get back on time to stop Draisaitl?
Oh my God! What a save by Shelovs!
He can't even figure it out at this vantage point. What a pass from McDavid. And it looked like there was enough room for that to be opened up. That's the save of the game right there. I don't care what the final result is. That's the save of the game.
Duh. Goaltender sliders at 100, gentlemen.
I just went back and rewatched that save. What? Please. Vancouver, for the love of all that is holy, give this man a goal.
Yes, please.
Give this man a golden stick.
Speaking of a stick, cue the emoji of the guy poking something and label the dead thing Vancouver's offense. Come on.
Wide open. Here's a big shot that's turned away by Stuart Skinner. Finally, the Canucks get a shot on goal. Zadorov and Kane. This could get dicey. Here's Kane. And a save by Shelovs as two Canucks go down. Simultaneously, Shelovs has it. Zadorov and Garland ran into one another. Not the way that Vancouver wants it as play gets stopped.
I'm not sure what's even happening here, Alec. You got Zadorov and Garland running into each other. Kane gets a breakaway. He just made the save of the series here, and then immediately gets tested again. As Ian said, it's got to push the other way. Maybe Shelovs can just hang in there for a couple more minutes to try to get something. Zadorov tried to snipe that top left of the mesh, but he missed it. Then it went the other way for Kane.
Kane was going full speed ahead right on Shelovs, just avoiding right on time. Zadorov and Garland collided with one another. 7 shots on that power play, mind you. That's a big advantage for the Oilers, something they're very good at. Soder, lead pass goes nowhere. CC blocked the passing lane near the Canucks bench. Goes back for Vancouver. This might have been sent out of play with 15:07 to go.
Well, we can say it right now as this goes on play here. What should the scoreline be right now? Because it certainly feels like the Oilers should be up by 3. Again, they're showing Shelovs for Team Latvia being in the MVP when they won a bronze medalist, one of the biggest games of his career. I could say that this man does not fear pressure.
It is not, especially when Latvia won the bronze medal against Team USA in the IHF Worlds. Brett Kulak rushing for this loose puck. Driven towards the wall by Hronek as Hronek goes down. Kulak across. Tipped down in front. Up in the air. Stays out of the net as Shelovs held his own at the crease. 14:43 remains here. Second period. Cody Ceci, of all people, has the game's only goal. Oilers poke this one aside. Here's Connor Brown leading the way for the far side. Brown twists and turns. Yes, you're seeing that shot board correctly at the broadcast between Sportsnet and ESPN. 22-4 is the official shot total in favor of the Oilers. Ekholm twisted around for the near corner. Rushing there is Hyman, who is back on the ice. Hyman hands this one up over to Nugent-Hopkins. Bouchard fakes the one-timer. Bouchard now fires one. Board down and in! Evan Bouchard with another big-time strike. What a series he's been having. It's 2-0 Oilers.
Man, he's set up by the half spin there for Hyman, and that might be the death sentence, gentlemen. I hate to say it so quickly. We're going to do the full broadcast. We're going to enjoy it. But if I don't see anything the other way, what else can I believe right now? I feel bad for Shelovs.
He's just getting bullied at the crease.
Yep. I need to go ahead and parody a YouTuber by the name of FaZe Jeff, who's known for his rages. My God, my teammates. I have four motherfuckers standing in smog.
Oh, that's basically how Shelovs has to feeling now, knowing that he's getting left out to dry. And by the way, that's the 12th goal by defenseman for the Edmonton Oilers in the playoffs. That's the most in the entire league. The Canucks barely have tested Stuart Skinner, but it's working well for the Oilers. The puck loose out in front, and it came dangerously close to Shelovs. The Oilers have 23 shots on him. The Canucks have tested Skinner 4 times, and Skinner's managed to stop every one of them. This puck went nowhere for the Canucks. They look so lost out there on the ice. And speaking of lost on the ice, they have an offside against them.
You remember, gentlemen, last year when we did Game 7 in between the Rangers and the Devils, and I honestly was getting irritated during the game because the Rangers were playing so poorly. This is how I'm starting to feel now for the Canucks, but honestly, as we talk about with Shelovs, again, I said this in the first intermission, regardless of what happens, I have no blame for him. At some point, if you can't push the other way, it just makes me wonder, how the heck did Vancouver even get to 7 games? Did 2 teams continually just take turns falling on banana peels?
Oh.
Well, I mean, and honestly, when you think about this, gentlemen, the Vancouver Canucks are only missing one player. Granted, it's their best goal scorer in the playoffs. But I mean, like Elias Pettersson, hello, Quinn Hughes, hello, Carson Soucy, hello. Is anyone on the line?
Yeah.
Is anyone there?
I mean, Alec, I know you're calling it. I hate to throw you back into the side of it for the color commentary, but I mean, are you seeing a pulse on the ice right now?
Well, there is a pulse for one team. It's not the home team, that is. It's Edmonton with all the pulse. Vancouver, they're just looking lost out there on the ice. There's just a bunch of nothing. Nothing's working right, except for goaltending, you could say. Whenever they have a look, that's immediately neutralized. The Oilers perhaps playing their best defense of the series. This may be their best defensive game, possibly one-upping Game 6.
I wouldn't disagree with that. I think they could have at least... I think Vancouver, again, as I said, maybe the 10 shots and goal isn't reachable, but the one point, they should be there, but the one point that you made in the broadcast that was popped up, which could be good against Dallas should they get there, the fact that they've gotten all these goals from defense, and the fact that McDavid and Draisaitl, especially McDavid, hasn't had to do a whole bunch of goal scoring here, that should serve the Oilers well if they can find that against Dallas should they get there.
Yeah, hopefully if they hold on, then the Oilers can use that momentum to get those goals from their defense and loading up. Cody Ceci, his second. Evan Bouchard, his sixth. As another one of those as Zach Hyman is offside. Matthias Ekholm jumped to it a little too early. And speaking of Ekholm, he's still second on the Oilers defenseman team lead with 3 goals.
Wow. So, I mean, yeah, everybody's getting the job done on the blue line. And whatever Paul Coffey did there for Evan Bouchard, I know he was a young man, had some skill anyway. I think everybody's buying in on that blue line side, and that's a boon that Edmonton really needs. If they can just get a little bit better goaltending there for Stuart Skinner, I mean, honestly, you could put a construction barrel back there right now. It wouldn't matter, but we'll have to see what happens in the Dallas series.
And speaking of which, as we look at shots from defensemen, the scoring of the second goal could be changed. It looked like the puck deflected off Zach Hyman's stick, so Hyman could get credit for this goal for deflecting Bouchard's shot. He presented himself with the stick at the open lane, but Vancouver still in search of their first goal. That one blocked away by Skinner off Philip Hronek's long shot. Now it's a battle for this loose puck. Lafferty caught in the midst of it, so Suter, Holglander also there. Holglander emerging. That pass bounced off an Oiler leg. Now it's Hronek. Now he fires one. Blocker save or pad save by Skinner. Recollected out in front. Lafferty can't find Suter. Hronek going across for Hughes. Quinn Hughes around Derek Ryan. Hughes to the net front. And Skinner shut that one down. He'll hold on. 12-13 left.
Alec, I'm going to say it right now, and you said it right at 12-13, and I mean this for the rest of the game. If I'm Vancouver, this goes against my principality of everything. I'm going for a shoot-everything approach. I don't care about clean setups. I don't care about trying to get prime extra passes. Fire it at the net right now and see what Skinner's got.
Test him continuously. Doesn't matter where it's fat. You want to prove that he is worth it.
Do something. You got to change your style of attack. Quit trying to be so pretty with everything. It's clearly not working right now. They need shots in a big way.
And so far, they're not changing the Bouchard goal to Hyman on the credit. The pass intercepted from Mikheyev as it's cleared out. Zadorov leads it up. Here's Mikheyev again. Back for Zadorov. Zadorov sets up for Pettersson. He'll flip it over to the near corner. Vinny Desharnais is there first and spins it over to the far boards. Vancouver with the hold. Here's Pettersson behind net. Desharnais shoves him there. Pettersson will move it aside. Back at the point is Zadorov. Loads one up. It's wide the net. And back behind the net. Desharnais got there, but it's taken away by Vancouver. Pass to nobody at the near corner. Kane can't get this one out. Zadorov with the keep. Nobody from Vancouver could get this one in for the slot. Here's Kane, who enters in. The left side is Draisaitl. Back across. One-timer Holloway. That's turned away by Shelovs. Holloway gets it back. Backhands it back behind the net for Kane. Kane. The loose puck came in front. And JT Miller seizes. Lightly taps it for Shelovs, who'll hang on.
Yeah, it's just continually one way and the other. And that one almost bled through the blue paint there behind the net. It feels like right now, whatever buttons that Edmonton's pushing, they're all the right ones right now, and all the doors are opening for them.
And they're showing Macklin Celebrini here in Vancouver, the Hobie Baker Award winner, the projected first overall pick of 2024, most likely going to the San Jose Sharks. And Celebrini, I feel he's having a fun time out here, no matter what the score is right now.
Yeah, I don't think he's thinking about the game right now with that smile on his face.
I mean, he's thinking of the future, what he could possibly be like, most likely being donning that San Jose Sharks jersey. One Canuck went down. It sets up Matthias Janmark back the other way. Janmark centers him, and crashing to the net was one of the Oilers. I think that was Cody Ceci who got tangled up. The one-timer was fanned on. Now Vancouver goes the other way. Can there be a sign of life from Niels Amon? Amon tucks it at the far boards. Oilers snatch it away from him. Here is Kolak, who hangs onto it. Deep pass was cut off by Quinn Hughes. And back for the near boards is Garland. Garland just fires one on Skinner. Easy save there. Shots 25-6. Edmonton now.
Hey, at least you doubled your shot attempts, right, Alec? I mean, you got to start somewhere. I know it's small, but I don't even know if you have to cut this at 2-1. But I would say, Alec, you need to keep it at least a 2-0 at worst.
At 2-0, so far, you're at this breathing distance if you're the Oilers, but Ian and I know this several times. The most dangerous lead in hockey is a 2-goal lead.
Yep.
Ekholm gets it down. Center ice. Recollected by Vancouver's Myers for the far side. Intercepted by Edmonton, looking to enter back in. They do. Oilers have it as Hyman. Hyman, gloved down by Shelovs. He'll just hold on to a 10-15 remaining in the second.
So again, the Oilers right in off the rush of the backhand, able to just fire it in. I mean, look, you got Zach Hyman on that previous one as that got stopped. He was just able to skate right around the defense, hold up the backhand, do whatever he wants right now. So again, I talk about shots on one end, you might have to give up something on the other. But again, keep it at 2, try to find a way at least. And I don't know what Rick Tockett's writing on that sheet, but he might be saying send help.
I mean, they need all the help they can get. I wonder if he's calling this Sedins or any of the Canucks legends. This is a tie-up, but you got to think that you need the help of the Sedins here.
Henrik and Daniel, where are you, my friend?
Here's Dakota Joshua trying to set up in front. Garland was tied up. Joshua gets it back. Sets up Carson Soucy. Long shot turned away by Skinner. No rebound there, but Lindholm keeps it in. Nugent-Hopkins tied up his man. Lindholm falls down. We stay 5-on-5 as that was a legal stick check. Oilers get it out. The bouncing puck goes back into the Edmonton zone. Two Oilers collide with one another. Here's Garland, sets up for Lindholm. Lindholm back at the point for Soucy. Soucy's long shot reaches Skinner. Or was blocked down in front. It didn't reach Skinner. Here's McDavid on the move to the left side for Nugent-Hopkins. The drop pass around for Bouchard. Bouchard goes inside. Rebound in front. Garland picks up this loose puck. He'll send it over to the near side for Hoglander. Hoglander skates around Nurse. Parks at the near corner, trying to find someone. Going back for the point for Zadorov. Long shot blocked in front. Here's McDavid. We'll leave it up for Hyman. McDavid goes for change. Hyman dumps his one in, signaling he's at the end of his shift. Shots 26-7. Edmonton in this game 7. It's all Oilers here. Lafferty sets up in front. And the drop pass. Here's Lafferty moving into the net. No shot. Skinner made sure he ran out of time with this shot. 8:56 remains. Second period. We'll go to break.
Starting to see a little bit there alongside, you know what? Maybe Ilya Mikheyev as well and Sam Lafferty. A little bit of a pulse there, some chances that we've been asking for. A couple critical goals. We'll see if they give the credit there for Zach Hyman, as you mentioned, going to break. I'll go ahead and double check that really quick as it's 8:56 in the second. Right now it is Cody Ceci with his second and Kulak and Holloway at 1:16 of the second. And then 5:50 Evan Bouchard for RNH and Zach Hyman. That's what they got. Shelov's been excellent. 24 of 26. Just 7 of 7 now. 8 of 8 just updated for Stuart Skinner.
As we look at the hit totals from both sides, we may be mentioning time and time again about the NHL feeds possibly needing a hit counter for who has the more hits in the playoffs because that's when games get more physical. So far, it hasn't been much of a physical game per the stats. 20-13 to hits in favor of Vancouver, but you'd imagine that there will be more from both sides given what happened between Kane and Zadorov at the end of Game 6.
Yeah, you would think there might be a little bit from those gentlemen, but honestly, I agree with you, Alec, in this side in this series. I don't think these are two physical teams that want to play that way. I think Vancouver's more built for it, but it's going to be interesting. Should the Oilers move on and play Dallas, again, I'd probably say will by the time of the third period. I'll just give Vancouver a little bit more time. But if Dallas comes calling on Thursday, they like to play a little more physical. They like to play fast as well. But how is the depth of the Dallas Stars, how is that going to work against a top-heavy team like the Edmonton Oilers? Because they had a tough time a couple seasons ago against the Colorado Avalanche, and I'm not sure that the Dallas Stars get much of a reprieve.
Yeah, and what lines do you put against what lines if you're Dallas? Do you put Robertson on the up against the McDavid line? Or who do you go up against? Do you put a defensive line up against another one of these lines? Do you put Mason Marchment's line on Leon Draisaitl's line? So many questions.
There's going to be a lot. It's always nice to see the Stanley Cup, and that part of the bracket is after today, we'll be set with the Final Four. We got Florida and New York, and now we got to see Dallas, whether it's going to be Edmonton, Vancouver. Edmonton's got a 2-goal lead, a defensive zone draw here.
And Phil DiGiuseppe nearly took one past Stuart Skinner on the backhand and sailed wide. DiGiuseppe again! Skinner said no to him again.
Well, Phil DiGiuseppe's been one of those guys that scored a key goal over the last couple of games, so he's always capable, it certainly seems like. And you know what, Alec? I have to say it. Over the last 4 minutes here, Vancouver has looked better.
Yes, yeah, you need the momentum that you can. So far, 8 shots in the second period after having just 2 in the first. But the Canucks, they look to be locked in here. So the interesting part, they put Patterson with JT Miller on this line. And this one went out in front. And that was deflected wide. Desharnais looks to clear and does so. Vancouver on the hole, but it's landed on the basket of Janmark. Vancouver takes it up once again. Hughes lost the handle. Just finds its open man right in time. Vancouver can't do much with that. Here's Desharnais for the far side. Sends this in. Zadorov is the first 2. This loose puck. Tied up by Connor Brown. Still has it. Braced himself. Contact from Sam Carrick. Hughes to the far side for DiGiuseppe. Phil DiGiuseppe skating this one up. This took a bank pass. An awkward feed. Patterson has to get out. And now it's a feed up for Ilya Mikheyev, who's just come off the bench. Patterson going out for a change. Desharnais sticked away from Mikheyev. On the near side, Nils Aiman. Pass deep. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins saw that. And will send this one around. Bluger will restart. And around for Mikheyev, who's tied up. Mikheyev looks to advance this one forward. Can't do it now. Rushing to his loose puck. Nugent-Hopkins looks to keep it in. Myers to the far side. Hyman holds it. Far corner. More zone time for the Oilers. In this period, 7:25 remains. Nugent-Hopkins driven along for Matthias Ekholm. Braced himself. Near half boards. Aiman took a poke at it out to the Oilers zone. Bouchard recollected. It's 2-0 Oilers. Alec Navajana, Ian Genji. 26-10 shots on goal for Edmonton. Though the hits lie with the advantage for Vancouver. However, it's the score that matters. It's 2-0 Edmonton now. Here's Hronek after the dump in by Edmonton. Across for Myers. And for the penalty box doors, this goes inside. Elias Lindholm chasing after it, beat out by Bouchard. Lindholm slamming Bouchard onto the wall. Vancouver can't do much with that as Draisaitl clears it out. It's gloved down by Joshua. Joshua can't get the entry. Puck comes back to him. He'll just flip it off of one Oiler. The puck loose. The Oilers can't get this one out. Fake slapper from Garland. The loose puck could not be fed on goal. Lindholm from the left circle. He sets up for Garland. Skinner on his breadbasket. Shuts it down and covers with 6:26.
Oh, man. At first it was Vancouver offense do something. The thing is, they're doing things. It's just that Skinner's... They can't get anything past them.
They're starting to get their offense rolling a little bit. I still think they can get some of those prime setups, but as I said, I don't want to say two things off the side of my mouth. I think keep it clean right now for the second. get some confidence, and then go back into the 30 and maybe run your offense as you did and see if that will jumpstart you. But right now, I'm only concerned about shots here for 626 and then making sure that the score differential doesn't get any worse.
Yeah, there was a bit of a scuffle afterwards between Evander Kane and Dakota Joshua. Both of them had their helmets removed. Now they're both at the benches. Offensive zone time is pretty much even, but the Oilers, they're making the most of it.
Yeah, they are. A couple of their defensemen able to get definitive goals right now, and CC and Evan Bouchard. CC have his 4 playoff goals. 2 of them met in Game 7, so next year I make sure I won't forget about that.
And the goal has not been credited on the Bouchard goal to the goal is not credited to Hyman. Here's DiGiuseppe. Save, rebound loose, swept away by Desharnais. McLeod tried to clear, is held inside to the near corner, picked up on this keep-in. Vancouver trying to draw themselves within 1. Out in front, Pettersson forced wide the net off a stick. McLeod will try again on the clear and does so now. Icing waved off. Hughes will pick it up away from Fogle. Had a chance to say his name a lot, but didn't have to, given how good Edmonton has played. Here's Kulak at the far corner. Several pokes by the Canucks. Kulak lost it to Hoglander. Trying to get this to within 2. This will be a penalty against Vancouver. Clear as day, the official saw it. Stuart Skinner's going to go to the crease. Cole rushing after it. Nurse beats him out as Cole touches up. I believe this is going to be a tripping penalty against Sam Lafferty.
Yep, and near the right side dot on the other end, as you said, as clear as day, right in front of the Zebras. And now Edmonton has an opportunity here to play Russian roulette, essentially, against Vancouver. They finish this one and go up 3 as Kulak gets tripped. That could be it, but we'll see. Vancouver started to play a little bit better in the second. No time for a penalty is a good one, especially at this point in the period. So we'll see what happens with 5:38 in the commercial break.
And do remember the Oilers, they had 7 shots on their last power play. That could be a significance if they were to be on this second power play. They want to go at their first power play unit, and that's their go-to unit. That's the most dangerous power play unit on the ice, and even though it's not as historic rate as it was last year, they're still as lethal.
Yeah, again, they're still a top 5 unit across the NHL teams that we have at 32, and now especially in the playoffs going to Final 4. Edmonton's probably the most feared, to be honest with you, on the power play still, so you can't give them chances. And we talked about it a little bit in the pregame. Ian's with us now as he's been throughout this game. Whether or not this has been a series of you take it, no you take it type of deal, it still went 7. Most of the games were exciting. Maybe game 6 and 7 kind of finally leaned the way where Edmonton took control of this thing. But I think there's going to be, at least for Chris Knobloch, let's say he advances, and you go to Thursday against Dallas. It's good that Edmonton's got maybe about 3 more days to think about this thing, because they're going to have to do some cleanup and maybe a little bit of soul searching if they want to go ahead and play against the Dallas Stars. Because, yeah, you can take the penalty kill. That's been really good. Some of the defensive scoring, that's been really good. But I still think Edmonton needs more if they're going to beat the Stars in the series.
And as we speak, and I know the Oilers may be on short days rest up against Dallas, but 3 days, you could have time to think about this. But Dallas, they're more well-rested heading into the Western Conference Final. They're going to be the host no matter who comes out of this game, whether Vancouver comes back and wins or Edmonton holds on. So far, it's in favor of Edmonton because of how they've played this game.
Yeah, they've had every reason to believe that they're on the front foot of it. Maybe they haven't taken advantage of it. The shot board has, but Vancouver essentially sleepwalked through the first. They look better here in the second, but this is a penalty kill that they have to have. They have to get it.
And they have to start right now, given that the first power play is on the ice for Edmonton. Bouchard almost lost it to Bluger. 0 for 1 on the power play, on their only other one, but of note, they had 7 shots. That could serve as a confidence boost. Nugent-Hopkins fights McDavid. McDavid as he was on his knees, fighting Draisaitl at the far corner. Pass down for Bouchard to deep right point. Around for Draisaitl on the keep-in. Draisaitl going down low. And around this goes for Nugent-Hopkins, I believe. Bouchard fighting McDavid on the tic-tac-toe pass. McDavid looks around. Back for Draisaitl. Sees it go over. Nugent-Hopkins fighting Draisaitl and back for Bouchard. Hyman sets up right in front of Shelovs. Bouchard fighting the right side for McDavid. On for Draisaitl. Draisaitl continues to look. From the far corner, there's no setup. Here's Bouchard. One-timer, missed the mark. Nugent-Hopkins, he scores! 2 goals in as many games for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And it's a power play goal. 3-0 Oilers.
Right off the backboard, wide open.
And the Vancouver Canucks are dead. Good night.
Well, it's not over until it's over. We've seen some miraculous comebacks. Do remember, the Edmonton Oilers, they thought they had it against the Anaheim Ducks just 7 years ago, but lost it with 3 minutes to go in that game.
Again, Alec, I'm not going to disagree with any of that. I'm just going to tell you, here's a stat, and this is wild. So the Canucks have about 12 shots on goal right now. You got this power play gets converted, and the power play totals here for Edmonton, 8 shots. So, and they've only had 2 of them. So that kind of tells you where this game's going right now. I thought that was a must-kill, but RNH gets his 14th career playoff goal. Vancouver now has to get the next one. There's no buts about it.
No excuses if they miss out on this. Pettersson had it bounce over a stick. It is Zadorov on the keep. Zadorov, right back this goes. Deep shot, deflected, didn't make its way to the goal. Ceci on the stick lift, takes it away. Fogle secures it away from DiGiuseppe. Fogle continues to hold. We're to the far side. This one sent inside off the tip. Shailov's picked this one up. He'll send it over to the far corner. Could be trouble. McLeod has it. Shailov's back in his crease. McLeod on the backhand. Just gives it up. Patterson looks to lead the rush. JT Miller from the Canuck bench. Across for Joshua. Joshua lost it. Gets it back. Near corner is Pettersson. Pettersson around for Miller with Desharnais on him. Miller. Right back. This goes over to Joshua. Patterson at the front of the net. Right back for Myers. Across. Here's Quinn Hughes. Long shot. Deflected. This one sailed wide. And at the near corner. Will be picked up by Vancouver. Here's Hughes. Winds up. Fakes it. Now spins around. Back to the left side. Here is Garland right across for Miller. Miller looks to the front. Goes back to the point for Hughes. Hughes fakes it. Up around this goes over to Garland on the bounce off Holloway. Hughes back to the point. Right back for Miller. Tic-tac-toe to Myers and right back. Miller. Hughes. Rocket pass. Back to Myers. And here's Miller again. There's no shooting lane. Now there is one that takes a block. Now keeping this in is Hughes. He gets shoved. Garland. Zone time here for Vancouver. This is the best that they've had on the zone time. And they lost it as Edmonton takes it up. Kane right around Hughes. And back this goes with Vancouver leading the way. Back inside. Offside is waved off. Garland fakes the slapper. Draisaitl blocks off Garland's shot. And Edmonton takes it up. 2:46 to go in the second period. Lead pass from Hronek. And take this inside. Come the Canucks. The energy has pretty much been taken out of this building after the Oilers scored the 3 goals here in the second period. Vancouver can certainly use one. They're not getting one now as Hronek keeps this one around for Höglander. Höglander lost it for Nugent-Hopkins, who had the most recent goal. Far corner battle for this loose puck. Garland lost it. Loose in front. Skinner shut the door. And to keep at the point. Back around this goes. Garland tied up towards the near boards. Hronek. This one deflected up onto the crowd. But no. This one kept in. I thought it was going to the crowd. It bounced off the boards. Höglander over to Hronek. This shot is blocked. And back this goes. Held in play. Oilers get it out again. We're 2 minutes to go in the second period, and the Canucks are getting the best looks of this game. But so far, they cannot beat Stuart Skinner. Nothing on the zone time. The Oilers get this one through. Here's Zadorov starting back up in his own zone. For the far side, the tap pass. For the far side as they advance it through. Here's Lindholm. Fans on his shot. Bouncing puck recollected by Edmonton to get it out. Sam Carrick beat out by Zadorov on this dumping. Zadorov slammed towards the near corner. And he's down. Pinned down by Carrick, who's still trying to get up. Zadorov can't get up. He's still on his knees. Now he gets up. Now it's Carrick being the one who's down on this ferocious puck battle at the near corner of the Vancouver zone. Now Carrick pokes it free. Kulak brings it back into no man's land. 1:10 to go. Pried free by Eamon. Helped out by Connor Brown. Brown, bouncing pass, goes over to Vancouver. Lindholm deflected this one through. Last minute, the second period. It's been all Edmonton in the second frame. Just it is throughout the entire game. 53 seconds ago. Oilers have it, and they get it out. 50 seconds From the penalty box door, sent inside by Janmark. It is Quinn Hughes. Right by for Brown. Hughes slowed down. He'll pick it up. De Giuseppe with it. And gets this one down. No icing. Not even close to one. Desharnais from behind his net. Up and around. This one not deflected in. But Shelovs will lead this one behind. 30 seconds. Hronek dangerously played to traffic. And Hronek spins out and fakes out Warren Foegele. For the far side. Canucks advance this one in. And for the center ice, Pettersson gets bumped. Hughes can't get this one through. Oilers get this out. Bouncing puck. Down to the Vancouver zone. It's loose for Connor McDavid, who gets hauled down. And a loose stick on the ice. Make that 2 loose sticks. Goes back to the Edmonton zone. Will be recollected by Darnell Nurse to run out the clock. What domination has been for the Oilers. They lead in shots on goal 27-12. And it's paid off. 3-0 they lead in Game 7.
Well, good job by you on the play-by-play, Alec, because you had this course of action for about 7 minutes straight there. Again, as we said, it was all Edmonton after 1. They didn't score. All Edmonton after 2. It's 3-0. Arthur Shelovs made the save, one of the best saves I've ever seen. Maybe the second best one of the playoffs, and yet it's 3-0. 2 of those goals from defensemen. 1 of those on the power play as well. I mean, look, you and I said it as plain as day. We thought this would be a 6-game series. Game 6 kind of went one way. Game 7's going one way. Oilers look like they're going to take this one. I feel comfortable saying it. Now, you got 20 minutes. At this point, Vancouver, I know you're top of the Pacific. Playing with house money, Alec. You got nothing to lose here. You've been getting dominated. You got to go out there with your best effort in the final 20 minutes and know that your season's over after this if you don't get at least 3. So that's just the way I see it. It's a shame it kind of went the way like it did between the Devils and Rangers last year, but I feel like I'm watching the same game, minus maybe 3 extra goals.
I mean, 3 more goals for out, and it's by the road team this time around as opposed to the home team. Domination by one team is kind of like what you mentioned about last year's Game 7. Devils and Rangers. This is one of these games that's basically surprising us. We thought Vancouver may even this one out. The Oilers, they're unfazed by the crowd noise. If you remember that one PK Subban quote, it looks like the Oilers are paying a homage to PK Subban's quote ahead of the Canadiens' Game 7 against the Bruins.
I want to say this too, and again, I've been trying to be realistic, and I did a little bit during the first. I don't know if it's just the Canucks and their style will play, because it's been that way in the regular season. I know Rick Tocchet's talked about it when they had Thatcher Demko, that sometimes they'll play this way. The Vancouver Canucks, this time they don't have a lead. This time they're down 3-0. But when they get a lead, they have a tendency to play in a shell. Thatcher Demko, Casey DeSmith at the time would bail them out, and they'll win some games despite being outshot by a ton. And right now in this game, Alec, you can tell me if I'm completely crazy, but I don't really see the Edmonton Oilers doing anything that's shocking or anything I feel like the Canucks can't handle. But for whatever reason, in Game 6 and Game 7, they've either ran out of energy or maybe the Oilers just figured out the Canucks, and it looks like they have no answer right now. But what say you?
I like the points that you made. It feels like the Canucks, they used up all their energy. They tried to make all these comeback victories, and comeback victories all throughout. It's just not doable every time. You're down by a significant deficit. You came back from down 3 against the Oilers once. Well, you trail by 3 in one game. All right, you make one comeback. Okay, that's good. You trail by 3 again in this series. Well, Edmonton's learned their lesson from Game 1 and held the lead. That time around in Game 6, I would feel that the Oilers would once again use those lessons from Game 1 that they've learned. And because they've learned those lessons, they will hold this lead. They've got the better of the shot quality. They got the stifling defense their way. We talk about how good Vancouver's turned around their defense under Adam Foote. Let's give some credit to Paul Coffey, who is the defensive whisperer for the Oilers.
Yeah, he deserves a lot of credit for unlocking all that, because honestly, 2 years ago, when you played against the Avalanche and that happened, I didn't see much defense from the Oilers. I mean, you could try as much as you want to, but this group, in comparison to 2 years ago on defense, at least show me that they can do it. And if they're willing, if they bend a little bit, I don't feel like it's going to break completely. And I hate to punch this button. I'm not going to mention Dallas again, but I do want to go into the situation of Thursday when that series starts, okay, Skinner's had a couple games that essentially he's come back into the goal crease. He's looked fine. He had a better second period. I give him that. He's made the saves that he's needed to make. And sometimes that's all you need to do, Alec, especially in a game like this when you already have a 3-goal lead. But I still go into Thursday thinking, what do I really know about Stuart Skinner? And how comfortable am I with the goaltending tandem that Edmonton has? I don't feel like their goaltending tandem in this entire series, whether it be Skinner or Pickard, has answered any questions for me. And that kind of stinks for them because it's been a long 7-game series, and I still don't know what I'm going to get behind the crease.
I mean, it's basically flip a coin between them. You just don't know what you're going to get. It's like chocolates. It's like a bunch of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get. It's like life itself.
Yeah, that's I think that's the dangerous part for me for Edmonton. I know that they can score goals. I know Dallas is going to know that you don't want to take penalties. And I feel better about their defensive front. So, again, we've had some secondary goal scoring. Defensive front, again, we talked about CC, Bouchard. Hell, even Darnell Nurse, he has not played that bad in this series. I know he gets a lot of heat because of the money he makes and all that. The Oilers seem like a better defensive team than they are 2 years ago. But to me, it's still the same team. The goaltending tandem from like Koskinen and Skinner last year, now to Pickard and Skinner and whatever else you want to throw out there, could be worse. So we'll see. I mean, I think Edmonton's going to get there at this point. But the same questions that we've been asking ourselves, I still feel like we have to ask ourselves those same questions. I'll be really interested to know, once we get later into the week, if Edmonton can find a way to take a couple games or at least get it 1-1 after 2 and really kind of push on the offensive end. Maybe Skinner has a strong game, one of the ones later in the week. And then maybe I can kind of have some hopes here for Edmonton, but I feel like Vancouver, even though it's a 7-game series, whether it's running on energy, as we said, I thought Shelov's did everything that he could in this series. But I don't know. I don't know if I should feel disappointed for Vancouver, or maybe we expected Edmonton to win, but I just didn't expect it to end like this for the Canucks.
Yeah, it just feels like you fall flat in these last 2 games. I'm not going to shame Vancouver too much because we didn't expect them to win the Pacific Division with the way the roster is constructed. You bring back much of the same guys you had at the tail end of the last season, and you add some more for the course of the season. You bring in Zadorov, you bring in Lindholm, in addition to bring in Soucy and Cole in the offseason, plus Bluger to shore up the depth. You bring in the Smith at the backup goaltender. It's either way, however you look at it for the Canucks, this season's been a success for them. Build on this season. If you don't come back from this Game 7 and win, you can build on this season. Add some more in the offseason. Get some more missing pieces around. Shore up the depth.
Yeah, my first look for Vancouver, should it be that way, and again, we'll talk about it in the postgame a little bit, but I would say, I know Brock Besser's a whole, but even if he wasn't in this game, let's say he was playing, I don't think the way the Canucks are playing right now that the scoreline looks any different. Would you agree?
It wouldn't be that much different if it were with that score line. I mean, with the Oilers playing the way they are and with the Canucks playing the way they are, you would if Demko was in the net, I think the same thing happens. That the way Shelovs is getting left out to dry in this game, Demko would also get left out to dry. And as for the free agent situation, Vancouver, they have $27 million in cap space when you include the Tucker Pullman LTIR salary. We don't expect him to be back on the Canucks lineup. The UFAs being Teddy Bluger, Dakota Joshua, Sam Lafferty, Mark Friedman, Tyler Myers, Nikita Zadorov, Ian Cole. The big one is Elias Lindholm. Plus, Philip Hronek is an RFA. Shelovs is an RFA. Casey Smith is a UFA. You'd be wondering who is going to be brought back and who goes. I think Shelovs gets brought back. Lindholm you have to bring back at any cost.
Lindholm I'm bringing back. Shelovs I'm bringing back. I agree with you. And again, I'm going to get back to the previous point, and then we're going to jump into cap friendly because I just looked at that too, and I want to have a discussion with you as they were just interviewing Evan Bouchard. But yeah, I agree. I don't think the score would have changed that much if Besser was in there, if Demko was in there. But I immediately looked at the lineups today, and I asked you about the bottom 6 And I think that's where I need to go ahead and look at and what they could address. And that $25 million thereabouts in cap space should be able to do that at least a little bit. Obviously, Elias Pettersson battling an injury. He's going to deal with some of that. That can make things difficult. But here's a crazy one here for you, because at the beginning of the first half of the season, when you think about Filip Hronek, that was a slam dunk whether you're going to bring him back now. I mean, he was silent in the second half. He didn't really do much. And now in the postseason, he's not really doing much. And I'm not saying you don't bring him back in a second or third line, but they were saying Filip Hronek wants, $9 million, close to you can't bring him back for that.
No. If you started around in the middle, say at least around $5 million, you would start at that. Lindholm, he's possibly going to get a pay raise. Say $7.5 million would do.
Fair. I agree.
And so, if we're looking at everyone else, Joshua's going to get a pay raise. Myers, he's going to get his salary cut down for what he's worth, even though he was on that bad contract previously. And I'm not blaming him for signing that contract, because that was a Jim Benning contract. If he were to sign with Vancouver again, it's going to be at a cheaper value. Zadorov, pretty much at the same value that he had in his previous contract.
Yeah, you're worth what they're worth, and whatever they pay you. If we were in the same spot, Alec, we'd sign the contract too. So you never blame the players for signing the contract. That's what you got offered. And again, we're just giving you the looks at what we think we're going to see. Honestly, the Quinn Hughes deal, only 9% of the cap at $7.85. That's an absolute steal. I think the only thing I want to see more for Quinn Hughes, and I know it's tough to ask because he's a superstar defenseman, but maybe put a little bit more of the offense on your plate next year. Again, he's only 24, going to be 25 heading into it next year. I think he's definitely capable of doing that, and hell, I'm sure that Rick Tocchet's going to ask him to do so. And on the other end, yeah, I mean, I see some contracts here that honestly don't seem to be all that bad. It feels like the Canucks are in a pretty good situation right now, to be honest.
Yes, they're in a good spot with Jim Rutherford and Patrick Allvin manning the front office. So they have the future ready. Plus, when you have a decent prospect pool with Vasily Podkolzin in the mix, even though he's graduated from prospect status, you also have Jonathan Lekkerimaki at the helm at the prospect pool, Atu Ratu as well, Linus Carlson, and everyone else. Danilo Klimovich at the forward core.
Yeah, so maybe, again, because you brought up great points, maybe I should think that the Canucks are a little bit ahead of schedule. And honestly, that should have been my first take anyway, because when we talked about it, we didn't expect Vancouver to be at this spot. Hell, I mean, they were in a spot where Rick Tocchet takes over. And, we're looking on the side for Bruce Boudreau, a little bit upset the way the coaching situation went, but you realize this team had a lot of talent. They needed some time, and Rick Tocchet, he should be involved with the Jack Adams because he's kind of turning it around, as we've talked about. So maybe Vancouver's going to be fine. It looks like the contract situation is. It's just a little bit tough to swallow in the moment, considering the way Game 6 and Game 7 have gone so far.
I mean, shake off the pain of these losses and carry it on to the offseason. Don't let this get over your head too much. Vancouver's going to be back.
Yeah, and again, I look at some of this situation. This might look better from the story from a few days ago when he talked about the Avalanche and the Matt Duchene double OT winner, because I was looking at that cap-friendly situation alongside you, and it seems like Chris McFarland's got about 15 free agents. That entire bottom six is a free agent, essentially, and they got some defensemen as well. Yes, you have the core group of Rantanen and McKinnon and Makar, but there are a lot of situations, a lot of things to figure out in Denver.
Yeah, plus the status of Gabriel Landeskog. Is he going to come back?
Do you really think so, Alec? It's been 2 years. I didn't think he was going to be gone for 2 years.
Me neither. We didn't think that the last time we would see him on the ice was the Stanley Cup final when he hoisted that fabled cup first and then passed it off to Eric Johnson first. Here's something that blows our minds. In the last 8 periods of Game 7 action, the Canucks have not scored a single goal.
Now, you're the hockey historian, although I know some stuff, but I credit to you. I'm looking back on it. Was was that one of the Ryan Kessler teams or something that didn't score? Because it seems like a long time ago.
So let's look back at 2 games prior. So 8 periods. You have these 2 periods from this game. The previous game was 2020 in the bubble against Vegas with Thatcher Demko's Herculean effort. It took a Shea Theodore shot to beat Demko in Game 7. The other 2 goals were empty netters. Then you have the Stanley Cup final game in which the riots were taking place in 2011. The last time the Canucks scored in a Game 7, Alex Burrows slayed the Dragon.
Okay, thank you for that, because I keep forgetting about 2020 for some reason. And I remember that the Canucks had some pretty good teams over the years here, but now they're back at the precipice where they haven't been to in a while. It's been about 4 years for that side. So, wow, I'm looking at this too on Cap Friendly. They got a Oliver Ekman-Larsson buyout that doesn't end until 2030?
Yeah, that's it. I cannot blame that on Vancouver one bit. I feel that's more at the fault of John Chayka for that awful contract that he gave Ekman-Larsson. But it's not as steep as the Parise and Suter buyouts like what Minnesota's dealing with, but it stings still. We combine this with the Tucker Pullman LTIR, you still have at about nearly $5 million used up in cap.
Yeah, no, I guess not too bad, as you said, because it will shoot up over the next few years, and then we'll figure out what's going to happen in Utah and where we're going with that. We got some trades. Honestly, Alec, I know we got till June of the Stanley Cup final. We have a lot more games to broadcast together. I know Cooper will probably join in on some of the finals ones as well. But I think this potential for free agency frenzy, I think it might get a little wild, honestly. I'm just going to say it.
I mean, you got Stamkos, the big fish of the free agent class, and you have all the chaos that follows afterwards. I mean, he is a big fish for every reason. You got Stamkos, then you have Sam Reiher, who had his best season of his career on a contract year. Who knows if he's pricing himself out of Florida's plans in the future? He's going to get a big pay raise.
Yes, he is. And I do want to throw a little credit his way, although he wouldn't take it, and it doesn't really matter anyway because everybody knows how good he is. But I was glad to see that, once Patrice Bergeron had exited and he was Mr. Selke anyway, Sasha Barkov got his second. I know all his teammates talk about how good his game is. Sasha Barkov is one of those guys I enjoy watching, Alec, because not only does he play the 200-foot game, offense, defense to everything, it seems like anytime there's a playoff game, he's always on the score sheet. And he's always doing something positive. You always know where Alexander Barkov is on the ice.
Yeah, you do. He plays that complete 200-foot game. It feels inadvertently that first round series between the Bruins and Panthers, in terms of the Selke, it might have been an inadvertent passing of the torch from Bergeron to Barkov, and we'll get more of the Selke trophies down for the line. We speak of guys like Ryan O'Reilly and Sean Couturier who can play a complete 100-foot game. Barkov is the best among the forwards who can play a complete 100-foot game as of right now.
Yeah, he is. And honestly, when you talk about that, sometimes you say, okay, I can play player offense to defense. I think Sasha Barkov is one of those guys that can be an absolute elite goal scorer, but he's asked to do so much for his team that he just can't sit and score goals all the time because he's killing penalties and he's also on the power play as well. He's everywhere.
He's everywhere, all over the ice. And we'll be interested to know who goes where among the free agency. I know for a fact that Carolina is prioritizing on giving Jake Guentzel a long-term extension. So don't expect him to go anywhere.
As they should. I think he fit for a glove, right, for Carolina. They want goal scoring. Guentzel provided it. He provided it all over the playoffs. I thought he had a fantastic postseason.
Yeah, he has. And a solid return for Pittsburgh on the other way with Michael Bunting and the other prospects that they got.
Mm-hmm. That was really good for them. You take this first 10, I'll close it. You've gotten all the goals here. You get the exciting parts, I'll take the boring parts. That's the way it's going right now. I'm good with it, Alex.
Don't call it boring. I mean, some of the parts that you got in here were filled with excitement as well. We got some Nikita Zadorov and Evander Kane. Don't bash yourself over it.
No, I like having fun, Alec. It's so much fun to call these games with you. I appreciate that we can go back and forth into Game 7 and both enjoy the sport that we love. You take it away.
Here we are, third period. Alec now with John Ott. And the Oilers winning 3-0. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, game 6 and 7. Can you believe this? He has 5 points in his last 2 games. He's been showing out nicely. Connor McDavid, who hasn't really we haven't had a chance to say his name much throughout this game. He doesn't have a point here in this game 7, but with the way the Oilers have played, he doesn't really need to have a point in this game 7. He did have 3 assists in game 6 after being held to just 1 point in the first 5 games. Maybe the Dallas series, he can get rolling. He absolutely crushed the LA Kings in the first round of a dominant showing as McLeod gets stripped loose. Here we are in the opening first minute. Vancouver to the far side as they skate this one in from Ian Cole. Knocked loose by Nurse. They are nailed to the wall. It's still in for Vancouver just before Edmonton got it out. Full race for it. The icing is going to be waved out. Sheeloves will grab it up. Has Quinn Hughes and Derek Ryan right in front of it. Stops it with 18:42.
And I like the point that you made there about McDavid. Again, the one thing Vancouver's done is they've closed down McDavid. They've had games and stretches where he hadn't had a point or just 1 point in 3 games combined. When you play in the next series, you feel like that's going to have to bounce up a little bit, but that also speaks to something good about Edmonton. Again, we talked about it with RNH. We haven't been able to say that over the last couple of years because usually if 97 doesn't score, they're going home.
Yeah, that's usually been the case. And now we have a point in which both Draisaitl and McDavid are not on the score sheet, but Draisaitl does have a secondary assist on the Nugent-Hopkins and his goal on the power play. That kind of counts. But then again, the 2 even strength goals, neither McDavid nor Draisaitl have a point on them. It's CC on the first one. They have just changed it to Zach Hyman on the second goal. He indeed deflected the Bouchard shot. Initially thought it was Bouchard as he had the initial shot. Vancouver ties up Edmonton. Reaches Skinner who sticks it away. Near corner, McKayev spun around over to the far side. Bloger was struck down by Kulak for some time. Brown stick this one behind over to Kulak. Kulak had it poked loose. Zadorov sent this behind the net intentionally. Puck poked free. It's Bluger on the hold. Tight shot went in front of Skinner. Here's Serona who loads up. This is a bounce off of someone. Oilers have it now. Here's Holloway. Holloway can't get anything. It now goes behind Sheelovs. First there's Zadorov. Who'll go over to the far corner. He and Kane are going at it. This could get dicey. We don't know if there's going to be a fight that's going to spark here, just like what happened yesterday at the NASCAR All-Star race between Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Far side, this goes for Elias Pettersson. Pettersson had it poked away by Nurse. And up this goes for the Oilers. Here's Hughes again. Hughes can't find JT Miller as that one was poked free by Brown. Connor Brown on the race for this puck. Ian Cole got shoved as the Oilers on the takeaway as Carrick on the backhand around. Riding the near corner is Matthias Janmark. Janmark watched by Hughes to the feed around for Brown. Brown goes back on the tight shot. I thought this was a feed for Janmark. He decided to fire at Sheelovs, testing it from a sharp angle. 2:58 gone. We'll get a face-off.
And I'm wondering, too, because the Vancouver personnel, they got some pretty strong pieces of what they might change going into next year. Again, talked about the amount of cap space and what's there, fixing the bottom 6. I think they could use a couple extra forwards here to brush in that bottom 6, kind of push that offense a little bit. Just too stagnant for me in this series so far. At times, it feels like they can go periods where they only get 2 or 3 shots on goal.
I mean, they have Teddy Bluger, Dakota Joshua, and Sam Lavity to take care of on the bottom 6. You bring back Lindholm, you're in good hands. Garland on the keep around. Doesn't go anywhere. As this goes over to the near corner, Susie on the hold. McDavid can't get it. His teammate can. That was Ekholm. Nugent-Hopkins bumped. McDavid has it. He's also bumped, but got it away. Up front is Hyman. Finding McDavid. McDavid to the net. Sheelovs poked it away from him. Just before McDavid can get a shot away. And the Canucks clear it out. And Ekholm will be the first back to this puck as both teams make changes. That was a good job by Sheelovs to deny McDavid of a shot. But still it's a 3-0 lead. Sheelovs is basically doing everything for the Canucks. There's just a whole bunch of nothing for Vancouver. They have just 12 shots. None in this third period this far. Bank pass for McLeod around the sin bin boards. Around is incentive for the near side. Sheelovs will leave for Hronek. Near corner Hughes. Ryan put the pressure on it and take the puck away from him. Ryan Hughes gets it right back and leads the rush back the other way. 4:10 gone in this third period. Miller to the inside. Nothing there for the Canucks. And on this collect is Holloway. Here's the 2-on-1. Holloway, curl drag, Fogle. No room to shoot. Fogle will get it back, but it's knocked away by Hronek. Holloway will get it back for Edmonton. On his backhand, he controls to the far corner. Hronek right on his face. Holloway recollects. And that's what go for Hughes behind, and that swept it away from the approaching Draisaitl. And tied up is Elias Pettersson. He'll find Hughes. Chased from behind by Draisaitl. And this will be sent off the boards. Oilers on to keep. Vancouver gets it out. And they'll collect. De Giuseppe near boards. Send it over to the far side. Here's Hoglander. Around. Shoved towards the wall by Desharnais. Held inside by Suter. To go to the right point for Cole. And Cole gets this one around. Spin around by Hoglander right back. Hoglander over double move. Right by Draisaitl. No passing lanes there. Edmonton gets this down. No icing for Nikita Zadorov. Zadorov leads it to the left side. Too far for Cole. And a rush for it is Hoglander at the near corner. Hoglander controls. Carrick poked to free. Suter gets it right back. Here's Cole at the left point. Inside. Nothing there for Lafferty. And now it's Carrick with the far side. Shelov stays in his crease. Cole tried to play this one through. Brown was there. Zadorov also there. It's Zadorov with this puck. Left side this goes, leading away for Mikheyev. Mikheyev forced over to the inside by Bouchard. Mikheyev tried to pry it free. Does so, but it lands on an Oilers stick. And they get it out. This might have been played out play. And could this be a power play for Vancouver? They're trying to say delay of game against Connor Brown.
I think they might have a case here, Alec. Connor Brown looks like he should be going to the sin bin. And Vancouver's had their first power play possibly since the Elias Pettersson high stick.
Yeah, that was out of play. Nobody deflected it out on Brown's side. So Vancouver's back to the power play. They've done well on the road, but they need to match it at home. Just 5% on the power play at home.
And again, as you said, I'm looking at the previous series in which there was even strength play. It looked like there was a lot of standing around for Vancouver. You had 3 players in front of the net waiting to try to screen, and Hronek's by himself trying to dance around the inboards. He can't get a shot off against 4 defenders. The guy's got to move.
So Chris Rooney is checking the clock in the meantime with the officials by the penalty box, just as Rogers Arena is playing some low vert.
Play something to fire up the crowd. They've been stuck sitting on their hands.
I mean, some Jersey club can work. Something to get this crowd awake, because there's just nothing for the Canucks to get into this game. Now on this penalty kill is the Oilers drawing the first blood as they clear it out as the stifling PK continues for Edmonton. Pettersson leads the way to the right side. Spinorama around for Garland. Shakes off his man. The Oilers clear it down again. Recollected by the Canucks. Hughes leads the way. Tap pass for Pettersson. Fires to the near boards. And this gets banked around. Back to the place Hughes. For Lindholm. Tap pass for Hughes again. Hughes. Right side for Miller. Miller centers one for Garland. It's not there. And cleared out by Ekholm. Good save by Skinner. First save by Stuart Skinner when tested by the Canucks power play. As insane as it sounds, the Canucks get a shot on goal on the man advantage on their third power play. They did not have one in the first 2. They won't have another one here as the Oilers clear it down. Unit changes for both sides. Here's just going to stay out there. Anything for this Canucks power play. Anything to light the lead because a whole bunch of nothing. Pettersson around. They're the far boards. Tap pass around. That pass missed, but it's held inside by Pettersson. Around back. Pettersson bouncing in front. That one wide for Lindholm. He recollects behind it. Off for Pettersson, who's at the outside. Cross-ice pass deflected by Edmonton and cleared out. Vancouver restart. Hughes re-enters and an offside, they say, with 31 on the man advantage.
They had one chance out in front there with Pettersson after the missed pass, but that was it. He had the one shot. Again, you see Vancouver trying to skate. Edmonton's got the neutral zone trap going because they're up by 3, and then you try to rush to the right side on a 1-on-4. You're never going to get in front of the net that way to get the puck in front to even run your offense. So Edmonton's got it locked down, but if I'm Vancouver, get shots to the net, you got to press. And I see Lindholm frustrated as he goes to the bench, understandably so.
He has every right to be frustrated. He wants to win this, but there's not enough being done. In Vancouver this postseason, 21.6 shots on goal per game. That's the fewest since 1960. That's not something you want to see from a playoff team. Power play this postseason at home is 1 for 20. On the road, 4 for 15. And this power play for the Canucks at their home ice is basically the Maple Leafs power play or the Hurricanes power play against the New York Rangers. We may have another penalty on the way here.
Offsides I got from Butcher Gross here, Alex, so we'll see. I think we're just going to get a neutral zone draw.
Oh, yeah, so thank you for correcting my mistake. It is offside against Vancouver, so I thought it was a penalty at first, but it is an offside. No penalty on the way. Vancouver trying to jump after this face-off is Suter for Pettersson. Cannot be cleared out. Miller held it. Good keep in. Here's Hughes. Winds up. Tip in front. Suter. Skinner shut it down. 2 seconds on the man advantage. That could effectively run it out. That's just the 14th shot on goal for the Canucks in this game.
That was his best save of the game, Alec. I'm going to say it right now. With 12:16 left in the third, traffic out in front of Pius Suter. Again, you did ask me who's going to get the first goal of the game. I threw out there for Suter. Something, anything, a Quinn Hughes bomb, double deflection, and Suter's right there on the doorstep with traffic in front from Pettersson. That was Vancouver's best look.
Yeah, on this power play overall, that's their best look. That's the entire series at home. And it's led to nothing. Just 2 shots on the power play, both of them coming on the third power play. This is sent in, deflected off of Suter, and around this goes to the far corner. Hallglander looks, continues to do so, and back this goes. Hronek, Hughes, cycling this one around. Miller, back for Hughes, loads it up. That one blocked wide. More for 23 minutes of ice time for Quinn Hughes as he recollects it back in his own zone, away from Hyman. 11:40 to go here in the third period as I'll soon hand this one over to John once we hit the midway mark. Here's Vancouver trying to send this through. Edmonton denies them entry, but this goes back to Vancouver. Inside, this goes through center ice. Bloger out in front of Mikheyev. Gonna get the shot on goal as this McLeod. McLeod for the far side. Moves this up with speed. McLeod to the right. Here's Holloway, who loads up. That took a block. Second try. Shelov's kicked this one out. And Kane pins Susie towards the wall. Pokes at it. And behind the net, Myers swept this one away. Holloway trying to keep. It's still at the far boards and out. 1 minute until I hand this back to John. And entry feed over to Holloway. Holloway will drop it back for Kane. Kane's shot took a bounce off friendly fire from Holloway. Holloway at the far corner. Continuing to look. And will look to send this through over to Desharnais, which he does. Desharnais. And once again, this is sent wide. That was Nurse on that last shot. Vancouver at center ice. It's Joshua on the sent in. This one bouncing up high. 10:33 to go in the third period. And John, this might be a good time to hand this back over to you as ESPN is going to a stoppage.
Okay, so we'll go right in the stoppage here. Again, we're cutting it halfway this way because Alec closed the last one with the Matt Duchene heroics. This game didn't turn out to be like that, but Vancouver still has time as we go to break. But there's got to be something for me, Alec. I'm going to look at it, sands of the hourglass. You got 10:33 left. I think Vancouver needs to get one in the next 4 minutes. You got to find something.
Yeah, sign of life. Anything to test Stuart Skinner. Just fire it on the goal. It doesn't matter from where you fire it at, because the more shots that you fire at and pepper the goaltender, the more that you find these loose pucks over the slot to bank this in and potentially draw even.
Yeah, you can't really try to write the rule book over again if you're Rick Tocchet. You got to keep it simple. We said that a little bit in the second. There was a segment about 5 or 6 minutes of this game in the second in which I did like the Canucks play. It took them getting scored on twice to kind of figure it out, and then once they try to get going, they got scored on again, and then it was pretty much 3-0 at that point. And the sad part, for the third power play, yeah, you had a Pettersson screen out in front from Pius Suter, but on the Vancouver power play, might have been the Edmonton Oilers' best goal-scoring chance with the Connor Brown shorthanded.
It might have been breakaway opportunity. It's always an NHL player's dream to score on the shorthanded breakaway. It would be nice if that came to materialize. Just was not meant to be, but Brown's teammates did help him out. Cody Ceci, Zach Hyman, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. So active defense with multiple career Game 7 goals. Ceci has joined that list with Tyler Myers and Brandon Montour.
Good for Cody Ceci, honestly, because I know he gets some flack from NHLers across the league and this and that. Couple Game 7 goals. It's a thrill to be in this situation, isn't it, Alec? And when you come up on that, that's what you get remembered for forever.
You'll remember this for a long time if you're Cody Ceci. Not only getting a Game 7 goal against the Kings, but also against your cross-provincial rival in the Canucks.
Yeah, this is big. You can essentially go to the Final Four here and eliminate cross-rival, as Alex said. So this means everything. This is Battle of Canada, and Edmonton has really taken their front foot on the driver's seat in Game 6 and Game 7, and they put the foot on the gas, and they've dominated Vancouver. And we can talk about whether or not Vancouver ran out of energy, didn't have the pushback. I get it. It's happened. It's loose out in front a couple times for Lindholm as he tries to pick it up, but sometimes that's the narrative. Edmonton's been the better team, and they deserve to be where they are right now. As this goes on the left side boards, try to get picked up by Elias Lindholm one more time off the pin. He's got Connor Garland out there with him. He's a hard-working player. Ian Cole slowly around the end boards. Here's a pass. It's loose out in front of the circle, gets blocked a couple times, and then sent back down the ice. Shots on goal are going to start to be a little bit of a lie, and what I mean by that was Vancouver had a stretch in the second period in which they got about 8 of those, and that cuts into their 14 that's in totality. It's 29-14, so it's been heavily one-sided. As this goes to the right side, picked up by Myers. His wrister goes wide. And off the left side red line, spun around, try to get picked up there for Garland, set up for Myers. It's blocked again. Edmonton has done a great job of one thing, getting bodies in front of the lane and forcing them on the outside, as Alec has mentioned. And essentially, when you got a 3-goal lead, you're able to play that way. We talked about from Game 1 how that did materialize for Edmonton, learning some lessons. Well, it certainly seems like they're on the forefront of defense here. And Teddy Bluger off the rush will take a shot, and it's stopped by Skinner.
I know there's some fans who might not like John Buccigross as an announcer, but I feel he nailed it there with Connor McDavid. Legacy's on the line, so much on the line for the Oilers. But for McDavid, his team is doing it without him. He has no points, but with the way Edmonton's play, they're doing a complete effort all around him. They're helping him out on all facets.
Yeah, they are, Alec, and honestly, from what we talked about, that's what we needed to see from Ken Holland's team. That's what we've wanted over the last couple of years. You're getting it now, and I think if you're Connor McDavid, and he might be doing this in this series, it is credit to Vic Talk and the coaching staff for keeping him a little bit light on the score sheet. But I think, going into Thursday, Connor McDavid, number 97, is going to have to be Super Saiyan mode, really. Really isn't any other way for me to say it. He's going to have to activate and kind of dominate.
Yeah, he is dominant. We speak of the potential Stars-Oilers series down the line. There are some memories to it. I know the Stars have dominated that one-sided rivalry in the late 90s and early 2000s. It's primarily first-round matches between them and the post-Gretzky Oilers, as we call it. But 1997 is a year in which the Oilers will remember for the fact that they've upset the heavily favored Stars back when they had Mike Modano. If you remember, Curtis Joseph with a game of a lifetime in that Game 7. Todd Marchant on the breakaway goal to end the Stars season in that Game 7.
Those are some names, and it's been a while for me because I forget that Cujo, remember he was a Maple Leaf, I almost forget that he was an Oiler as well. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen these two meet in the playoffs. The Dallas back in the Western Conference Final. We'd think that Dallas could get their way to the Stanley Cup Final and make it there, given the roster that's been constructed. Good job by Jim Nill. I think Peter DeBoer, I have my questions about him, but so far, he's impressed me this playoff run.
I know we talked about that, Alec. I'm starting to think that some of my concerns are melting away for Peter DeBoer because that team just looks really good.
Yeah, this looks really good all around. Offensively, defensively locked in. Even Jake Ottinger is locked in. Even he doesn't have to face a barrage of shots from the opposition as it was against the Flames and the Wild in those 2 games in between playoff appearances. He's been really good in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think Jake Ottinger, to me, is the second best goalie left in the tournament, if not for Igor Shesterkin. Honestly, Jake Ottinger could be number 1. That's how good he is across the NHL. He's definitely, out of 32 teams, probably a top 4, top 5 goalie. Here's a turnover right out front, and Garland, he shows Vancouver some life.
Oh, and U2 plays throughout Rogers Arena, some life in the tank. So you get the first legit chance on Stuart Skinner. Perhaps the best look that you're going to get since the Mikheyev takeaway. So a stick lift, and you fire short side on Skinner. It's Pettersson who tied up Ryan McLeod, which allows Garland to pick up this loose puck. You just fire this one immediately. You get the quick takeaway, get right in, fire immediately. That's the mentality that Vancouver has to have the rest of the way. Just fire it right on Stuart Skinner. See how much you can test him to get right back in this game.
Yeah, you have to, Alec. And again, if I'm McLeod, that one hurts, but at least the team's still up by 2. Because if that was a little bit of less of a deficit there, man, oh man, that one really would have stung. So 4th career playoff goal, 3rd this postseason for Connor Garland. And that one was good. I don't know if it was as good as the between the legs fakie there from game 1, but Connor Garland puts Vancouver on the board.
Yet their first goal in a Game 7 in 9 periods for the Canucks. So there's the Game 7 drought that has been broken, as we spoke about. Their first Game 7 goal since, guess who? Alex Burrows.
Those are names. Again, you got the papier-mâché orca there with the Stanley Cup. You're going to need a couple more of those for us to get to another period. It's an opportunity now. JT Miller, he's got to win this draw. And this is tied up back. Connor Garland already back out there. Pettersson wrap around. And maybe we will start to see Vancouver fight for their life. You got to be careful on the other side not to give up anything. But honestly, Vancouver's got no other choice at this point. Veronic, now Pettersson. We'll put this way high off the glass. It'll bounce right in front of the logo. As this will be 7:50 left to go in the 3rd. John Ott here with you. I'm going to close it alongside Alec Nava once we go back to OT. The shots on goal are 4-2 in this period. So Edmonton is playing this like they did in game 1. A little bit of a sit back as Veronic now will send this around for Hughes. Hughes feels like he's out there in every shift. As this is picked up now for Pius Suter. Suter, cross pass, wide open as Nils Höglander. Backing around for Pius. This will go to Carson Soucy, former member of the Kraken. Too far for Höglander. Spin and turn. He gets dispossessed by number 97. RNH will take a long flip. Zach Hyman, he won't play this one-on-one. As we'll go to the left side blue line. 7:05 left to go in the 3rd. Tyler Myers, Höglander stopped at the line. Now everybody else has to go back. The defensemen were taking a change. Held lead in all 3 losses, the Edmonton Oilers in this series. I don't know if they're speaking that into existence, but it is fact. As this is sent down for Vincent Desharnais, double tip. Can't get a stick on it. It was Dakota Joshua. That could have been dangerous. As it's Hughes. Now he loses it. Hyman. Good working behind the net just to keep the puck for a little bit longer. Quinn Hughes. We'll see if Vancouver can press now. Connor Garland. Putting on the dancing shoes. Working in behind the cage, he gets dispossessed. It's Joshua. Back to Hughes. Hughes, stutter step. Just kept in by Nikita Zadorov. He's got it in the high slot. Backhanded pass. It was not a bad idea. But the Oilers now will get this. Vancouver's just going to start to run out of time here. As it's Connor Garland. Slowly chip this to himself. He's got to be exhausted. Warren Fogle puts it around the end boards. And now left to right. Edmonton on the road. They're trying to win this Game 7 to play Dallas on Thursday. They're in the road whites, the blue pants, orange striping. We're in the Orca blue. Pettersson, wide open. Höglander can't finish. My, oh my. As this goes down to the left side, it should be a 1-goal game. Carson Soucy settle this one back down off the glove hand. Vancouver's got a couple chances here. As this goes now, glove down, Tyler Myers, back pass between his legs. He'll get it back. He's got a lane. Fakes the bomb. Now takes the wrister and shoots high. As this goes up the left side board, jump for Miller. He can't find it. Now we'll get a whistle.
And that was Phil DiGiuseppe, not Nils Höglander, who shot it over the net. I don't think Stuart Skinner was tested, but if he was, I don't know if DiGiuseppe could have scored there, but that was perhaps the best look to bring you within one for Vancouver. Followed up with the Tyler Myers shot, but a good stick by Zach Hyman that prevented that from getting all the way to the net. Vancouver has some life here. They need some more of it before they can start playing some Green Day.
I know we can't answer this question specifically, but I gotta throw it out there. Where was this earlier?
We wonder, where in the world was this from Vancouver earlier in the game?
Because Edmonton, you play a little bit in that game one. You had a 3-goal lead, you can't hold it. You got a 3-goal lead now, it's down to 2. And I understand you can stay back a little bit and try to help around Stuart Skinner. I think it's the right call to do. But all of a sudden, when that happens, Vancouver seems to activate. The only time that they play this pace is when the Oilers have a multi-goal lead. They have 5:23 and left to try to get another one before the goalie pool. That wouldn't be 3 minutes from now. There is life. Stuart Skinner, again, he's been decent. 15 of 16. Again, I can't say too much or too less about it. There's just not enough activity. The numbers look fine. Arthur Shelov's 26 out of 29. Honestly, Alec, from the way that this was, if it wasn't for Shelov's early, this could probably be 5-1.
Yeah, if it wasn't for his goaltending style, they'd be seeing an absolute blowout here in Vancouver. Fans would be going home disappointed, but not really much to hang their heads about as we see Mr. Lightning McQueen, also known as Owen Wilson, in Vancouver.
Owen Wilson, huh? So he's a Vancouver Canucks fan. He wants to be able to see it. He's trying not to join the early traffic. You want to be able to wave those towels and see whether or not they can get a couple more goals. But this Pettersson's still caught up there pretty good. Faceoffs 27-25 now as this goes back to Edmonton. 5:15 left to go in the third. Vancouver needs a couple more of these to extend this Game 7. As it sits, it's 3-1. A good balanced attack from Edmonton in this game, and not named McDavid and Draisaitl, as this is sent back around from Pettersson. Now Miller, touch pass, Connor Garland. They'll leave it for Myers. Myers near the right wall. Myers will make a sauce feed. Working behind the cage now. Miller's got no one else to free the puck to. And now Edmonton will just inadvertently ice this thing for whatever reason.
You don't want to give Vancouver that. You don't want to ice the puck so that gives more life to Vancouver and bringing this to within 1.
Yeah, I would have been fine with Evan Bouchard's play if it was 42 seconds left on the third, not 4:42.
You don't.
So, Höglander now, as this goes back and around the inboards, picked up for Vancouver, slapper, Hronek, he scores! It's a 1-goal game!
Don't go yet. This is not over just yet as Philip Hronek unloads a blast from the center blue line, and Owen Wilson has to be smiling at that one. The Oilers a little unsettled now. This thing is far from over. The face-off win is, you don't want to give the Canucks an icing, especially at this point of the game. Nor that out. And it was at that time in which Vancouver draws into a thin 1. Several screens as Matthias Ekholm just screened his own goaltender for whatever reason. He didn't even see this puck. But that was a quick one, and Hronek has one. Chris Knobloch is going to use his timeout. I don't blame Knobloch for using a timeout because the momentum is slipping from Edmonton rather quickly. You do not want a repeat of Game 1 here.
All right, I have to issue an apology to everyone listening in on the broadcast side when I pretty much did a post-mortem for the Vancouver Canucks in the second intermission, and we're talking about a bunch of other things. But I did not expect this to happen to Edmonton again. What are you doing?
What? Yeah, what in the world is happening? If they blow a second free goalie in this series, we gotta start asking the Oilers some serious questions about what's to come. McDavid doesn't have a point in this game, and it looked like for the most part that he didn't need to, but now he needs to have a point in this game. Seal this one up. Take over.
Well, thank you, Alec. You make me feel a little bit better about that. I appreciate you having my corner on that end because it felt like this game was over until it wasn't. Filip Hronek, his first career playoff goal, his second point of the season. Again, we had him in the first period, Alec did, for Filip Hronek to get on the score sheet. That's a good time to get your first goal. There's still 4:25 left.
For the former Red Wing, it does feel good to have your first career playoff goal.
I don't even know what to say. Again, I'm trying to keep everything else all locked in here. Edmonton has to press now. You cannot play in a shell. You already saw what happened in Game 1. And again, this was the second time from Game 1 and Game 7 where I said it was the right decision. But I also don't expect to get an icing at about 4:43. Here we go. Vancouver with the puck. Now on the right side boards, as this is recollected by the Orca Blue. Back in behind the cage is Skinner. It's Nikita Zadorov. Into the traffic, he's going to get it back. Cross pass. That bounced off of something. This goes out of play, 3:55.
And everyone here in Vancouver is chanting, "Go Canucks, go." This quick pass across Draisaitl deflected this one out, and now Zadorov back on the bench. The Canucks have life. Even Macklin Celebrini is going along with the chants as well.
I don't know there, Alec. When I see Nikita Zadorov with the second, third opportunity, I saw too many Oilers sitting in front of that traffic in front of the net, and that got a little scary. You don't want to sit back that much and allow just bombs at your net. Here's an opportunity for the Oilers off the rush as McDavid, his line, all of a sudden, this is all the more important here. 3:40 left to go in this third. This goes to the right side line. Opportunity Fogle. He's just trying to kill time. I don't blame him. He's doing a great job keeping this alive across the wall. As all of a sudden, this game is completely turned. Here's an opportunity, McDavid. He's canceled off with a stick by Shelovs. Spun now for Zach Hyman. 3:15 left to go. The Canucks, inexplicably, they scored 2, and they're within 1. Edmonton was up 3-0. They felt like they were daydreaming throughout this game, and so did I, as Connor Garland now around. 3 minutes left to go in Vancouver's season, but now they're only behind by a goal, and they could realistically force OT the way this has gone. And Garland's taken a long time. He's letting his forwards take a change. They're making sure that this rush is measured, and they need to start going now, though. 2:40 left to go in the third. Carson Soucy, his chance goes wide. This crowd's really into it now. Pass is outside the zone. Carson Soucy settles it down. 2:30 left to go in this third. John Ott with you alongside Alec Nava. It was once 3-0 until it wasn't. Carson Soucy, JT Miller. He's already been a hero once. This is intercepted in Edmonton. Can safely clear this in across the red line. It bounced up an open helmet of Edmonton as that's in behind the cage. Now an outstretched pass, easily read by Ceci. He opened the score. Now Janmark will send it in. 2 minutes left to go in Vancouver's season. Myers. Now for Pettersson. He's got a ton of speed. We'll try to get this in across the right side red line. Flipped in off the glass. Edmonton try to get it out. They couldn't until the second effort. It's Shelovs escaping his goal crease. 6-on-5. Here's a touch for Pettersson. Gain the entry. Backing around for Desharnais. You can't turn it over here. This goes down the right side boards. Here's a chip. This will get outside the zone. 1:25 left to go in the third. Miller can't get a clean entry. This will be sent back down to the D-court. It's Hughes. They'll spin. One of the Oilers blows a tire. Long outstretched pass from 80. Gain the zone. Pettersson, it bounces off his skate. Miller tries to hold it in. 1:05 left to go in the third. It's a bouncing puck. Left side red line. 1 minute left. Spun around the inboards. Gets away from Darnell Nurse. A tackle on the left side boards. JT Miller now on the edge of his shift. It's bouncing. This could go right into the yawning cage. It's a race for the puck. It's Draisaitl off the push. It goes around the net. He can't get a stick back on it. Down to 40. Edmonton in their own end. Bouchard had it for a moment. Edmonton touch pass. Gain the zone. Dakota Joshua trying to make something happen. And this will be lofted back down. Edmonton might survive it, but it was a lot closer than they thought it was going to be. 25 seconds. Joshua back pass. Hoglander trying to find an entry. Down to 20. Back around Hyman. Ekholm gets pasted. Now 15 seconds in Vancouver's season. Snap shot in front of the net, blocked a couple times. Now Edmonton will pick it up. Down to 5. Vancouver's got to shoot at the length. It's over. The Edmonton Oilers survive. They made it interesting, but they're going to play Dallas on Thursday.
What a defensive effort by Edmonton to hold their ground on the last possessions. They didn't even allow Vancouver to get a clean look at the net a single time. Even with the top guys out there for the Canucks, Paul Coffey's defense answered the bell. The timeout worked for Chris Knoblauch, and he played it to his favor. Vancouver couldn't even get a stoppage and use their own timeout to try and counter, and that played to Knoblauch's team. They're going to fight for the Clarence Campbell Bowl starting Thursday at Dallas, Texas.
That was a fantastic block for Matthias Ekholm to end this game. And Calvin Pickard and Stuart Skinner, big hugs there. Again, that's cool to see. I did not expect, Alec, I'll just be honest. I didn't expect this game to come out this way. And you know what I like there? That raw emotion there from Connor McDavid. I love to see that. That's just about as fired up as I've ever seen Connor McDavid.
If we look back at the highlights, which he's shown lots of emotion, you think of the overtime series winner against Calgary. You think of his insurance marker against LA. He wants to win. He wants the Stanley Cup. He's hungry for a Stanley Cup. He set record books. He's rewritten record books all over across, and you know he wants it. Here we have Kane and Zadorov exchanging hands on the handshakes. We're surprised that we didn't see any gloves dropped here in this Game 7, especially after what happened in Game 6 between Kane and Zadorov, the most physical players on their teams. He thought that there might be something between them, but it just never happened. But no shame in Vancouver. They fought hard, pushed the Oilers to potentially an overtime, and all the way down, up and down for the ice. But they fought until the very last whistle. And that, I applaud the Canucks.
You go a 7-game series, and we talked about it a little bit. And honestly, I'm glad that we got a little bit of intrigue toward the end because I thought it was going to go one way only, but we got one. You go a 7-game series, and 6 of the 7 games are decided by 1 goal. I know most people would say that's got to be an absolute epic series. There has been so many twists and turns. I thought you said it beautifully in the opening. It's kind of been wacky. It's been a little quirky, but it was exciting. It was the Battle of Canada, and it really was a battle. I think the best team, I feel like they won, and we thought it might go 6. Well, it went 7, and now we'll see what happens on Thursday. My plan is to cover that Game 1 as well. Tomorrow will be an NBA side with nothing on the NHL docket, but Alec, sometimes we just take everything up in a blender and throw up the narratives and end up being a 1-goal game, and I guess we got the intrigue we were waiting for.
Yeah, there we have it. And, you know, I must apologize to Owen because we didn't expect this series to be the best series of the second round. Overall, so far, it's up there with Dallas and Vancouver as the best series of the entire playoffs. But this was peak entertainment.
Yeah, it was. Again, it was right up there with the Avalanche and the Stars, as you said. But, I mean, it was crazy. And I'm not sure what to make of it as far for Thursday. I think I can be happy here for the Oilers and say that, hey, we got through this somehow. and let's just rest until Thursday, because I think everybody's brain needs a little bit of rest and some processing about what we just witnessed.
I mean, this was the biggest game of epic proportions. People marked this as the most hyped up Game 7 of this year's playoffs, and it lived up to the hype from every angle. Yeah, Vancouver, they started slow, but they had a fast finish, even if they didn't finish it off. But it was Edmonton's big second period that was the big difference maker. And good thing for Owen Wilson to stay for the entire game, to not leave for the parking lot early on, because Vancouver did make it interesting. They'll be back here someday. They'll sort out their cap situation the offseason. I think they'll prioritize Lindholm and Hronek, and then get a new contract for Dakota Joshua. Teddy Bluger, I would think, gets a new contract. They bring back Zadorov, Shilovs, and then they'll think of everything else.
I agree with you. I think those are all the names that I would start with, whether it was like DiGiuseppe or Lafferty or some of the other ones. You could probably move on those from what we're leaning to, but for most of the guys, especially Lindholm and Zadorov that you bought in from the trades, I don't think you could ask any more from those two players.
No, they've lived up to what they were brought in from Calgary. I know somewhere Cooper must be smiling given how hard they played in Vancouver.
Yeah, it's been fun, and they've been good, and we'll see what happens on the Thursday side. I think it's too much insanity for me to ask you who you're going to take in the next series. I'm going to sleep on that for a few days before we figure it out, and I'll move over to the basketball side for Boston and Indiana before we jump back into the hockey hijinks. It'll be good to get a day off on that side for the ice. Honestly, I don't know how wild I thought this series was going to go. I will say it surpassed all of our expectations, but 6 one-goal games? Never could have expected that.
I mean, Game 6 may be the only albatross here, but 6 one-goal games, you got yourselves a masterclass of theater here in the NHL. Wish it could have been more overtime games, but we did get some late-game heroics from everyone involved here. Evan Bouchard, twice. JT Miller, and then, even though it wasn't a game winner here in Game 7, Matthias Janmark.
Yeah, that was a really nice goal off the 2-on-1 that we had a couple days ago as well. Alec, you take care. Thank you for joining me for this one. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad that we got the finish that we wanted to get. And I'm sorry about your fantasy baseball side for Clay Holmes.
Yeah.
We'll talk soon again, my friend. Take care.
We'll definitely talk soon. See you then.